Hello, and welcome to MoviePod, a weekly cinema podcast. I'm your host, Brian Wishart. If you enjoy the podcast, please rate, review, and subscribe. That will help me a lot. So I'm going to mark this as the season finale of MoviePod Season 2. That's just for clerical, that's just for my own workflow. So it doesn't make a big difference because I'm going to have an episode actually coming out just tomorrow. But this is going to be the 50th episode of MoviePod. So for the 50th episode, we're going back to episode 1. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. And I am bringing back the first ever guest of MoviePod, Ryan, to discuss this film that's had a really interesting arc with its reception. Probably one of the most anticipated movies of all time. And it got blasted for being very bizarre, stilted, weird. People hated Jar Jar Binks. People hated a lot of how it looks. It's really has some really dumb concepts for a prequel. But as time's gone on, the politics of it have been pretty fascinating. Also, people have really appreciate how George Lucas, it's 100% his vision. And as we are in a Disney era of Star Wars, where everything's just a little bit too much right now, too much Star Wars and too corporate, people have gone back to the prequels and kind of reevaluate them in their entirety. So, yeah. How's it going, Ryan?
Good. Hello, everyone. I'm Ryan, and I'm a real sleemo. Possibly my favorite thing on this watch that I did not remember and then was surprised that isn't said in every Star Wars movie.
It's the language is all so fascinating because there's so many different Huttese words. I guess it's all in Hutt, all these random words, especially in Tatooine, that it's hilarious to look at this movie as a prequel because it means that Darth Vader knows all these Huttese slurs.
Do you think he ever calls a stormtrooper a real sleemo? I really love that also the subtitles let you know that means slime ball.
Yeah, but that's just what the subtitles say. But this movie has all kinds of problematic racial elements altogether. So I bet there's some real that's a really charged word on that planet there.
It's something he heard Watto say, and he should not be repeating.
Yeah, and this movie completely kind of falls apart. I think it was a prequel because Darth Vader is probably thinking about Watto when he's doing shit on the Death Star, which is so funny to think about.
I don't know if he ever thought about Watto again.
Yeah.
But the fact that he do you think he ever mentions to Palpatine, my old boss, such and such? And Palpatine's you're what?
Yeah, I used to be owned by a Jewish bumblebee guy.
I was owned by a Max Rebo with wings.
Yeah. You don't know Max Rebo? You haven't been to Tatooine, Palpatine? Of course you should know who Max Rebo is. He's
he's playing in every bar I go to.
Yeah. But, it's Star Wars The Phantom Menace. You probably know what this whole deal is. It's it's a big movie, and especially we're doing this because the first Star Wars movie in 7 years, The Mandalorian Grogu, is out already. And it looks like shit. I've watched all of the... I'm seeing it this week on a cheap Tuesday, which is going to be the first time in my entire life I've not seen a Star Wars movie opening day at the most expensive format. The main reason being is because I see every Star Wars movie with my dad, and my dad has not watched any of the Disney shows. He has no interest in watching a Star Wars TV show, and this is basically going to be a series finale maybe for The Mandalorian. But The Mandalorian, to understand what's going on in that show, you have to watch 3 seasons of Mandalorian, but there's pivotal information about the Mandalorian story within the Book of Boba Fett, a show that should not be about him, which is the worst piece of Star Wars that's ever been made. And it's just too much homework for a movie. And this movie that's coming out looks like a TV movie.
I think sorry to jump on that, I think I had the grim realization that really started with episode 1, where as a kid and watching these, I got a lot of extra information from toy lines and side material and stuff about things in this movie that are not in this movie, but I learned before I saw this movie. And it feels like a lesson they started to learn in the prequels of like, hey, wait a minute, we can put all these other ideas out there in other mediums, and then people will absorb that as well, and we don't need to have it on the screen. And then it horrifically spiraled from there to be like their whole sort of media goal now of, oh, you didn't play Fortnite and watch 3 other shows? You're not going to get this shit.
Yeah. And like the Dave Filoni of it all has to be talked about, because Dave Filoni is the guy that became the showrunner for that Clone Wars TV show, which I could never get into. I've tried so many times. I found like watch guides online of like the best way to watch a show is. I hate how it looks. I don't like the vibe of it. And you all like the best term ever for that's ever been made in the meme culture is Glup Shitto, describing a Star Wars character that like is a complete background character that the fans are excited about. Like, oh my god, Glup Shitto's back, and like, but like I don't really. It's they're not standalone anymore. And
I did have a ironic Glup Shitto Leonardo pointing at the screen moment before Hathaway 2 of pointing at the screen and saying, "That's Babu Frick," to my wife in the theater.
During the Gundam movie.
Yeah, like it was the first time I saw a trailer for The Mandalorian, which I don't think I knew was coming out before seeing that trailer. And then there was like a bunch of Babu Fricks, which Babu Frick is a guy from I want to say the second
Rise of Skywalker.
Movie? Yeah, the middle one.
The third one. The third one, the one that people actually like everyone like hates that movie, but like Babu Frick, hey, Babu Frick is like that kind of like cool little puppet thing, goes like, hey, like.
Yeah, he's like a little tiny guy. And then in the trailer for that, there's like 5 Babu Fricks.
Yeah, which is so pandering, right? Like,
because it feels like it used to be like the concept of a Glup Shitto was like originally, you know, the people in the cantina and their background costumes basically that they picked out of like a prop house. And then someone had to name all those idiots for like the Star Wars RPG and various side novels, and it was more fun when like those weren't like when it was the Wolfman, not like whatever the hell his name is now, like, you know,
Black Sivrak, the Wolfman.
yeah, like he doesn't need a name, he can be the Wolfman, it's fine.
Yeah.
And now you can't have a character like that and not exploit it for the next project.
Yeah. And like it's fun. I listen to We Hate Movies on my favorite podcast, and they have a whole like Patreon side show called the Gleep Glossary, where Eric Siska basically reads from the Star Wars Essential Guide to Characters, one of the supplemental books, like the encyclopedia entries for all these characters, and like just everyone kind of responds how stupid they are. And like what's funny about all the Cantina people, a lot of the backgrounds come from this one like novel that came out called Tales from the Cantina, and it's funny how like basically everyone in that cantina there ends up like fighting the rebellion, fighting the Empire at some point in time. Some of them
they all have to have the most interesting backstory.
Yeah, they can't just be like some guy who just has a drink at a bar. Like it's fascinating that like, you know, it's people often compare Star Wars and Star Trek, even though I fundamentally different genres, different philosophies. But like I feel like Star Wars as a universe, the more they try to expand it, the smaller the galaxy feels. And a lot of that comes from the Phantom Menace and how, like, as with the prequels, like, you know, the fact that, like, the dumb, like, I like this movie overall, but, like, it has some really dumb shit happening. Like, the fact that C-3PO was built by Darth Vader, very stupid.
I never got this set, like, yes, very stupid, and also, from, like, watching the originals, I always assumed, like, because you see other C-3POs, you see other protocol droids, and it seemed like these are just a mass-produced thing, like the astromechs, and maybe they're in different colors or whatever. But the fact that Anakin, like, hand-built his vacuum is very weird.
Maybe it was like one of your, like, Gundam model kits where he sent away for it, and got, like, a C-3PO kit sent to his, like, you know, little slave duplex that he lives in.
He accidentally made it sentient and just got it way out of hand.
Made it sentient, British, and gay.
And why did he build, like, jumping ahead to the movie, he says that he builds 3PO to help his mom, And then when you meet 3PO in the originals, he's like, hello, I'm a protocol droid. I speak 6 million languages.
Yeah, that's not going to help the mom. The mom does nothing for, like,
what does she need that for?
She's a slave that doesn't have to work. Like, it's not like she's, like, sweeping floors at Watto's workshop. She's just, like, kicking around in her nice little apartment there.
I assume she, like, cooks Watto supper or something, so you made her a humanoid robot? Build her an IG-88 to kill Watto.
Exactly, yeah. Like, it's... That's the joy about talking about Star Wars in general, is especially, like, the prequels, is that, like, they are just, like, they are so insane. Like, truly, these are insane movies when you think about them. In a way that, like, you don't really get with the sequels at all. And I love The Last Jedi to death. I think it's a fantastic movie. But, like, The Force Awakens is pretty much an IP celebration. It's a reboot. It's pretty soft, like, not a challenging movie. Rise of Skywalker is pretty much them saying, like, all right, we're afraid of the fans of the Last Jedi, so we're just going to do the most safe movie ever to appease Reddit. And George Lucas directed all 3 of these prequels, and The Phantom Menace is, like, it's a self-financed film with, like, Lucas, by George Lucas, and no one said no to him. This is 100% what George Lucas wants Star Wars to be, and it's wild.
It rules because of the George Lucas of it. Like, you saying at the top, this came across as stilted and weird, is exactly how you can also describe George Lucas as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so his vision, where it really feels like someone who... Because like, to get into the weird, financial backstory of it, and, like, all the context you get from watching the making of and stuff, he made this because the rights returned to him for, like, the merchandise deals and everything ran out just before he was going to make this. Uh-huh. So, like, it seemed like a timing of, okay, it's all mine again. I get all the money from, like, the toys and stuff. I can choose the brand deals and all that stuff. So now I'm going to make my thing. I don't actually know what I want to make or why, but I can make it. And then every decision in that documentary, like, starts with them being like, okay, George, like, we can do this scene, but it'll be $100,000. Or we can do it slightly less and it'll be like 80,000. And it's so crazy to see where he came from to where he's making Phantom Menace of, like, oh, well, I need to rewrite this to save $80,000. But then also I'm going to put, like, $500,000 into Jar Jar Binks as a costume puppet man.
Yeah.
It's the most George Lucas movie that you could have a George Lucas movie, and it's, I think, so much more interesting because of that. It's maybe the most interesting Star Wars movie.
I think it truly is. This is the Star Wars movie that's most interesting to think about from how it was made, because, like, you have these things like no executive could tell George was like, hey, Jar Jar Binks, maybe tone him down a little bit, because, like, no, George is like, I remember George has that one great line, like, somewhere in a behind the scenes thing where, like, Jar Jar is essential to the whole picture, to the whole thing, to, like, the whole trilogy. And, like, of course, like, he kind of dialed down the Jar Jar Binks in the next 2 movies, but, like, he loves Jar Jar Binks. He loves these characters. He loves this universe.
It's because I think George is, to his own detriment, like, a maximalist filmmaker in just the purest sense of, I'm making this movie and it's going to appeal to every demo and every age and every person, where he's like, okay, we'll have the... And I genuinely love a lot of the design in this film. I think the sound design is maybe the best of any of the Star Wars films.
Yeah, the music, holy shit. Like,
but not even just the music. I mean, we'll get into it, but, like, the pod race scene, the parts without music are beautifully done. Like, the sound design is incredible in all of those scenes. Like, so much, like, care and craft for, okay, we're designing a whole new concept of a droid army. It's all this, like, multi-layered things that fit together and make sense, and they built out this whole world. All brilliant. And then you've got the George touches of, okay, we've got the battle droids, but also they're a joke.
Yeah.
Like, it's that weird, like, he's like, okay, like, you designed this battle droid, and it's this sort of disposable droid, and we've got that whole concept of them, but then also, like, I want them to be comedic relief, because kids will like that, because the Ewoks were, like, a hit with kids. And, like, we got Jar Jar, he's a crazy-looking alien guy, because I couldn't really do crazy aliens, but also I want him to be a joke for kids. Like, it's like you gotta pick. Like, some things have to be for a specific audience.
Yeah. Like, he's thinking about the merchandising the entire time making this movie.
Yeah, but also, like, it's like you're thinking about the merchandising, but you're also thinking, like, everything has to be so, like, universally, like, this movie has to have drama and excitement and danger and kid stuff, but it seems like almost like every scene has all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And then you know, get the wild, like, tonal shifts as you go through the prequels where you get really grim by the third. But
oh yeah,
like it's such a I don't know, like I think this movie to me is the most interesting because he's taken such a long break and you can see the things that he thinks are what Star Wars needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's super interesting to me, at least.
And we were, like, speaking of appealing to kids, we were kids when this movie came out. Like, this is the movie that I like, because I, like, grew up, like, watching the Star Wars trilogy VHS tapes, like, the original trilogy, the only Star Wars movies that existed. And the idea that, like, you know, finding out, like, oh shit, like, there's potentially other Star Wars movies that could be made. And, like, the idea that he made those, by, like, you know, like, when he has, like, the original trilogy, he had to be episode 4, 5, and 6, like, meaning there's a 1, 2, and 3 that could exist someday. And this Star Wars Episode 1 is the first movie I can really remember, like, the trailer of. I remember following the marketing of this movie, which was hard to miss because, like, the marketing for this movie is absolutely insane. Like, I remember, like, all the Taco Bell, KFC, and Pizza
Jar Jar
Hut,
Binks,
like,
Frisbee.
cross promotions, and, like, you know, the advertisements for those, do the Pepsi ads, like, all the toys, like, so much merchandising. Like, you couldn't escape. In 1989, you could not, like, every commercial break it seemed like you watch on TV for anything you're watching. It'd be like a TV show made for adults, TV show made for children. There was a Phantom Menace or Star Wars ad at some point.
I think at school we talked about the Anakin Vader Shadow poster 4 or 5 months straight.
Yeah, that is such a cool poster. It's so well done.
Yeah, it's instantly iconic. It's like, genuinely at the time, like, as much as you, like, people now look at a lot of this stuff with, like, irony, I think it really did, it like, did what it wanted to do. It was a big iconic poster. It was a big, like, hype thing. Mm-hmm. And then it's such a different, not to be all, like, old person, but it's such a different, like, that was the one movie coming out for people our age that we could talk about, and there was, like, nothing else that all of us were excited about for months.
Yeah. I think 1999 was like this and Toy Story 2. Like, that was the only movies that were, like, appealing to, like, 8, 9-year-old boys. Like,
yeah.
Like, of course, The Matrix comes out the same year and kind of eats its lunch when it comes with the critical acclaim. But, like, this was
crazy
like
time that I did see both of those movies in the theater.
That's so cool. I saw The Matrix once my parents rented it on VHS at home, and, like, that blew my mind.
My mom took us opening to The Matrix because she was like, this is... My mom's, like, a huge sci-fi, like, reader, like, sci-fi and fantasy reader, and she was like, oh no, this is, like, the next thing, because we're all... Star Wars is the greatest thing ever, you know, and she was like, no, like, you guys need to see this.
And that movie had really, like, the marketing was crazy for it, whereas, like, what is The Matrix was kind of a bit... You didn't really know what was going on.
Yeah.
And, like, you see them like, oh, okay, that's a really interesting way to, like, pretty much, like, you can not talk about simulation theory now without just using The Matrix as shorthand. Like, that was a really cool mix of, like, and that basically changed what action movies were going to be for the next, like, several years in a way that, you know, I bet people thought The Phantom Menace was going to do. But, like,
it's really funny because, yeah, the action in Phantom Menace, I don't, like, the lightsaber battles and stuff, I don't think necessarily hold up to a modern concept of what we want, like, filmic combat to look like.
Yeah.
Where it's very, like, Obi-Wan doing a spin and doing a backflip, and it's, like, all this, like, really, like, over-the-top sort of movement stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's not really, like a brutal type of, like, action that is sort of, like, the bigger thing now, and, like, certainly, like, The Matrix started, like, hey, why don't we just steal a bunch of influence from Hong Kong? Mm-hmm. So it's funny to see that, but, like, the I think the CG and stuff and the effects really do hold up well.
They do
in episode 1. Like, I was surprised. Like the when Jar Jar drops in the water and then pops out and his head's in the water.
Yeah.
Like when they first meet him, like I was surprised that that just still looks really solid.
And like
what's a 27-year-old movie
with 27-year-old CGI. It also feels like CGI is stagnated a fair amount, but like I feel like this movie has a great blend of like real stuff plus CGI. All the explosions in this movie, the explosions really stood out this time. Like they look really good. And
they invented so much stuff for this movie. It's crazy that stuff like the explosions looks so good when they were inventing it for this movie.
Yeah. And like, again, we talk about, George Lucas and how like, maybe it was a rights thing for merchandising, but like he says that the reason why like he realized that the technology was there to reach his vision after seeing like the CGI in Jurassic Park in 1993, which makes sense because like, they like these, both these movies have like a good blend of the two. And like, by the time like, as even Attack of the Clones 3 years later, that's way more CGI than this one. And I think a lot of it still looks good, but like this one, I think the blend of it is really solid. And like, of course it has its seams, right? Because it is 1989, like it's 90s CGI. Like these things are like rendered on like, DOS computers. Like,
yeah. I think this for better or worse, because George was like, oh, finally the tech, or I can force the tech. Kind of like doing what James Cameron did, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you've got a director who's like, okay, I've got the money and I've got the power behind me to actually change what we're doing with, like, CG or whatever in films. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to use that to my advantage. But then you also get stuff where, like, when you watch the behind-the-scenes stuff and he's editing scenes to move people around or just cut a line out, and it's becoming more about like crafting a perfect little like thing but removing any sort of emotion or acting. Like there's scenes in this where you can see like background main characters, their mouths will be moving, but they're not saying anything because he just took that shot and like edited one person out of it and put it in another. So like that kind of stuff in terms of the seams showing, I think is getting a little rough these days. I think it doesn't this is kind of the end of the era of this is going to play in a movie theater and then you're going to buy a VHS and take it home and you're not going to see any of this stuff.
And but also like I had the novelization of this, like I had all the stuff for it, like the video games, the market, like it was just like so many different ways to experience the Phantom Menace story.
I remember reading the Popular Mechanics issue. Remember with like the cross sections?
Yeah.
Of the ships?
Like,
It was just like for like days. Yeah.
Yeah, like it was like it really captured the imagination of so many people. And like that's the George Lucas as a filmmaker, like that's what he does best, I think, is the designs, the creativity with that. But like, he's never been a good director of actors, and that even goes down to Star Wars: A New Hope, like which of the original trilogy, the only one he directed. And like, Mark Hamill is not very good in the movie. Carrie Fisher, at one scene, speaks with a British accent, and like,
that like all of that stuff feels so like it is the 70s, and we don't know if we don't think we have a hit.
Yeah, like that's what I love about the original Star Wars movie is like it feels so ragtag and it feels like such a success story. Like you're just like by the end when they're getting their medals and everyone's applauding, it's like holy fuck, George, you pulled it off somehow. Like
it's like for 77, it is very similar to a lot of science fiction movies that came out at the time, but I would say with like 50% more care and heart put into it, and more like not like even like more budget, but more better use of budget, like knowing where to put your money in the movie.
Because he's like showing off like his love for like Kurosawa movies and like adventure serials like Flash Gordon, and like even in Phantom Menace, like he's showing off like Jar Jar Binks is a lot like a Buster Keaton kind of character, like kind of or like very a lot of physical comedy. There's at one point during the there's some those pit droids during the pod race scene where they have like a whole Three Stooges bit there. like, he's still showing off all his influences, even like the Fu Manchu stuff with the Newt Gunray of the Trade Federation. Like, this movie has a lot of influences. And modern Star Wars, like, look at all the trailers for Mandalorian and Grogu. It's like the only influences seem to pop up is like we're referencing Star Wars. This is an Ouroboros snake just eating its own tail. Like,
this is the start of that.
It is 100%, yeah. Like, and like that's just the nature of just expanding the universe this far. And I think that the prequels, like when it comes to how they expand the universe, even ignoring the Clone Wars TV show, which I do not like the video games that they were able to pop out from this stuff during the 2000s were impressive. Like, sometimes they're janky and bad, but you get games like, Episode 1 Racer, which just expands, like, you do the pod race, but like on your Nintendo. Or like Knights of the Republic, which takes a lot of the music from this too, and a lot of the concepts of like, expanding the Sith and stuff. Like, this really, like, it was really cool just to see how like they could expand like all this stuff into other avenues.
It feels like with the prequels, they also gave themselves a way in to, okay, beloved universe, but we're setting it far enough before that we're going to have all new ship designs. We're going to have all new sort of design philosophy behind all of our, character ships and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then with the new movies that they've come out since, like, the Falcon's still in them. We've got
X-Wings
again.
X-Wings, like,
that are
Stormtroopers,
like, with a slightly different paint job.
Like,
yeah, you get maybe one new idea for like a ship, but it feels very much like afraid to push.
Yeah. And that's my problem with like the sequel trilogy overall, is that like considering growing up with when the prequels are around, you get so much expansion of the universe. And like there's like no real expansion of the sequel trilogy at all. There's like no TV shows that are set in that time frame. Like Mandalorian Grogu, the Mandalorian's TV show is set after Return of the Jedi. A lot of stuff's just set after Return of the Jedi or during the Clone Wars stuff. And you don't really get this interest in like trying to expand the universe. Like, I have no idea what the fuck the First Order is. I have no idea what the Resistance is. Like, I still have no idea after watching all the stuff. Like, but like with the
even Andor's in between, right? Because it's before the first movie, so it's in between chunks.
Yeah, like Andor like leads right up to Rogue One, which leads right up to New Hope. Like,
yeah, it is very surprising that they kind of took that final trilogy and were like, all right, nothing, no more of that. Everything else is going to be... To be fair, I haven't seen... They made an Ahsoka show. I don't know when that takes place.
Yeah, that takes place after Return of the Jedi as well, I think.
So still sort of like either before or at the same time as the new sequels?
Yeah, not...
Like nothing beyond them?
Nothing beyond them. None of the Disney Plus live action stuff takes place beyond... They don't take place at the same time as the sequel trilogy either, which feels just like a missed opportunity. Like... And, like, there's stuff like, people, like, despite Rise of Skywalker being, Rise of Skywalker, people still like a lot of the characters. Like, there's, or in the designs, like, I don't know, like Captain Phasma, which is just a big-ass stormtrooper played by Gwendolyn Christie that has, like, the cool chrome armor. Like, throw her into something. Like, why not? Like...
Yeah, do, like, a Boba Fett thing. We got, like, super spoiled as kids... Where like what you're saying, episode 1 came out and we got so much extra content of episode 1, and it feels like they went the opposite way with the new ones, where the new ones come out and then they're just trying to do all nostalgia bait, like, content for people that remember the original ones.
Yeah, which is the trap of like some Mandalorian and Grogu, and also all these TV shows where like it's nostalgia bait, especially because Dave Filoni is now like the creative head of LucasArts. Like, kill me right now, because like I don't give a fuck about his opinion on Star Wars, because like I don't care about all the characters he came up with in the Clone Wars TV show, because I do not like that one TV show. But like you have to care about those characters to like understand what the fuck's going on in anything. Whereas like
wasn't the main, like, because I know it's like Ahsoka, but isn't also kind of the main thing of the Clone Wars show Obi-Wan and Anakin anyway? Like, haven't we done enough with them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like even that kind of has a lot of contradictions too, because like a whole big part of like Attack of the Clones especially is like, a Jedi cannot fall in love. Like, I remember watching these watch guides. The official Disney watch guide for the Clone Wars on Disney Plus is absolute bullshit, because it's all just Mandalorian shit, because it's trying to set the Mandalorian TV show. And there's a whole plot line within the Clone Wars TV show where Obi-Wan Kenobi falls in love with like a Mandalorian woman, and it's like, okay, so there's so many contradictions across the board there too. It's hard to, that's the thing about Star Wars in general, is like it's really hard. Like, I can safely watch the original trilogy and just like pretend that like that Luke and Leia, like that they weren't siblings, something like that. Because I can watch New Hope and just pretend that kiss there is not really awkward, but like because George Lucas was making everything up as he went along, clearly. Like, there was no grand plan. Maybe he thought on, like, he wrote on the back of his script where Darth Vader's Luke's father. But, like, beyond that, I don't think he had any plan for anything at all. Because it's all make it up as he go along.
I don't even know if you could have a plan. Because that first movie seemed such, like, we gotta... Like, you wouldn't put that ending if you were extremely confident that you would get future films. Because at that point, you weren't getting sequels. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure he thought, I'll make Star Wars and then I'll make the next movie and, I'll have the same career as Spielberg and I'll make a Jaws and then I'll go on to something completely different.
Yeah. What kind of blows my mind with, you're absolutely right, but the absolute restraint at the end of A New Hope for Darth Vader to fly away at the end and not get killed, like, that is actual restraint.
Yeah, I think it's also being smart about the things that you're taking inspiration from of the old adventure serials. You never kill the bad guy.
Yeah,
because there's always a chance. But that might also have been a thing. Like he thought, oh well, like it's 1977. You make your big movie, and then someone else is going to make the next one, and they're going to get progressively worse and go to home video.
Yeah, and it's a miracle that the next Star Wars movie is just somehow, like, in my opinion, even better. Like.
Yeah,
like Empire Strikes Back rocks.
Like I don't think any of those are bad anyway. Like I have a lot of nostalgia love for Jedi. Mm-hmm. It is crazy that you went 3 for 3 on solid movies.
Yeah, absolutely. And like and I think Attack of the Clones is probably the worst Star Wars movie. Like. I think it's more boring. Like, Rise of Skywalker is a mess, but, like, I don't really feel as bored, and I don't hate the visuals of that movie. Attack of the Clones is just kind of dull at points, and I think that's the one that really suffers from George Lucas' inability to direct actors and to make good performances.
But you also can't direct actors and make good performances when most of what you're seeing on screen is just animated mush.
Exactly.
Like, that whole back half of that movie is on a brown planet in the sand, and it's all CG clone troopers. Like, there's nothing there. There's no... Yeah. There's no grounding, so you're not going to feel anything.
Yeah. So, I have the opening crawl for Phantom Menace right now. So, like every Star Wars movie, it opens up with a long time ago, a galaxy far, far away. And I get so fucking hyped when I hear that, when I see that. And then just, like, has a Star Wars logo just appear on the screen there. The John Williams music goes crazy, and I get so fucking hyped every single time, no matter which one it is.
There's a part of me that gets upset when I see the 20th Century Fox come up, and it's not this or Alien, or, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
just that, like, the 20th Century Fox fanfare even, I'm like, all right, long time ago, let's hit it. Come on.
Yeah. So, the title crawl for this one is that turmoil has engulfed the Galactic Republic. The taxation of trade routes outlying star systems is in dispute. Hoping to resolve the matter with a blockade of deadly battleships, the greedy Trade Federation has stopped all shipping to the small planet of Naboo. While the Congress of the Republic endlessly debates the alarming chain of events, the Supreme Chancellor has secretly dispatched 2 Jedi Knights, the Guardians of the Galaxy and Justice, the Guardians of Peace and Justice in the Galaxy, to settle the conflict. And I mean, like, people always like joke about how like when these movies came out, like, taxation routes kind of boring and stuff, but people say now, especially the Trump era, like, oh wow, like, looks like trade routes and conflicts and stuff as like and blockades is like, hey, that's very relevant to today, which is just like absolutely. But at the same time, though, what kind of like shocked me this time think about this is that the Congress endlessly debating things, that doesn't sound right at all. It sounds like Congress should actually be on recess and not debate things.
Yeah, shouldn't the weird little like elephant guys with 3 eyes be on vacation right now?
Yeah,
not on their little flying pedestal.
The Chuck Schumer elephant men, like
definitely the Chuck Schumer.
Yeah. It's like, we'll discuss this. I sent a strongly worded letter to Chancellor Valorum about this. Like,
I think you mean Chancellor Valorum.
Chancellor Valorum. I think Natalie Portman is an incredible actress, but like her line deliveries in this are so fucking bad.
I think no one in this is getting done any favors.
No,
by
I think Ian McDiarmid, like Palpatine, there is just like he is hamming it up. He's feasting. I think he does a good job with it. Liam Neeson's fine. I think he's totally fine in this movie.
I don't like. I think Liam Neeson is fine. I don't understand his read of the character because he, to me, comes across as like uncharmingly weird to Anakin. Mm-hmm. Very like cold, very uncaring. And I don't know if that's supposed to be like, oh, I'm a stoic Jedi, but it doesn't gel with him being like, well, we got to take this boy with us. He's the chosen one. He's
also supposed to be like a renegade guy who kind of like disobeys all the rules and stuff, but doesn't really come across too much. Like,
no, he like, I remember way back in the day, like the old Red Letter reviews. One of the things they brought up was that if you would have flipped Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, mm-hmm. like their roles in the movie, it would have made way more sense. Like, why is Qui-Gon always going off the ship on the adventure and leaving Obi-Wan?
And that's, I think, is a flaw in this movie too. Is that like the middle third of the movie, like Qui-Gon or Obi-Wan Kenobi has nothing to do. Honestly, he has nothing to do in the whole movie. Like, but like he's just not even. Ewan McGregor is like, you know, he's coming off Train Spotting. He's like, you know, an up and coming actor, but he has nothing to do for like a lot of this movie.
There is kind of also a really rough patch of this movie immediately following the pod race.
There is, yeah.
Because the movie definitely has like a climactic moment, and then we've got 15, 20 minutes to get through before our actual finale that mm-hmm. really feels like it does the movie a disservice.
Yeah. So like, so the movie opens up as like the open title says with, you know, this Qui-Gon Jinn, Liam Neeson, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ewan McGregor arriving at a Trade Federation ship. These ships are kind of shaped like they're round with like a donut hole in the middle. And so they're here to negotiate with these Trade Federation guys. These Trade Federation guys, they're forget the name of their race there, but they are supposed to be like a Fu Man. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they're like a Fu Manchu stereotype. They're ran by Newt Gunray. If either of us speak with a thick accent, we are not doing a racial stereotype of something that's based on human reality. We're going to be doing impressions of like, you know, what the alien species are, because like, like Jedi are no match for droidicas. Like.
The one guy, it's not Newt Gunray, but his second in command, I don't remember his name. Yeah. But he's the guy that says, like, it's perfectly legal, like, 3 times.
Yeah.
Because at first he's like, our blockade is perfectly legal. And then, like, later on, when Darth Sidious is like, I want you to kill the ambassadors, he's like, but would that be legal? Yeah. And I don't understand their plan. Like, you've surrounded... What does Naboo trade that this is worth all the money?
Yeah, no idea at all. Like,
but no idea what's going on. What, are you blocking them from exporting or importing? No idea. Why did you show up with 1 billion robots with guns and be like, this is a legal thing, don't worry about it? And then when you're like, we're going to invade, you're like, but is it legal to invade? Only if we get the Queen to sign a letter that says we're allowed to invade Naboo?
But also,
that seems to be the end.
The Queen is a democratically elected teenage girl who's like 14 years old. Like, it's like an insane system. You know, it'd be a great reveal if like, and it'd be like, okay, so what is like Naboo trading? Like, what are they being blockaded with? Like, why is it going to fuck their economy too much? It would be a fantastic reveal if it's like Naboo's primary export was Gungan slaves.
It would make way more sense if their primary export was guns.
Yeah.
And, like, Darth Sidious needs their guns for his army. Mm-hmm. And they won't sell them. Like, otherwise, are they just trying to import wheat? Like, I don't...
It seems like a really fertile planet. Like, a lot of green and stuff, which is kind of nice, because, like, I know Star Wars loves to have a desert planet with, like, no resources at all. So it's kind of nice that they kind of just, like, you know, have some... It looks like the Windows XP screensaver, but at least it kind of looks, you know, bright and colorful.
Yeah, there's swamp and there's Windows 98 background and nothing in between. And that one city in Italy, apparently.
Yeah. But, like, you know, so they, like, you know, Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi, they're kind of just, like, you know, hanging around the room, waiting around while, like, Newt Gunray is like, oh, Jedi Knight, oh. Like, he's upset about that. So, like,
Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are hanging around because, again, it feels like they don't know why they're there or what they're going to do.
Yeah. And, like, they send in, like, a TC-14 who's, like, a C-3PO, like, robot, just a lady C-3PO. And, like, they end up, like, gassing the room to try and kill Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi, but, like, they use their Jedi, ability to hold their breath to, like, survive that.
Again, and, what were the negotiations going to be?
Yeah.
Like, you sent 2 Jedis. What were they going to do? Pull a sword out and be like, stop. Like, that's it? Like,
yeah, both Qui-Gon Jinn's like a real, like, shoot first, ask questions later guy. Like, he's a fucking guy who buys a slave on a work trip. Like, he's not someone who should be negotiating with people.
Gambles for a slave.
Yeah. And so, like, there's the ship they arrived on gets blown up by the Trade Federation. So now they're like, pretty good action sequences actually of, like, these, them just, like, fucking murdering all these droid robots. And, like, that's one way they can kind of get around the violence of it all, is that, like, it's robots getting murdered, not humans.
It did feel very conscious. Our big finale is a child blowing up this ship. It should be robots, not people. But there are also people.
If you consider the Trade Federation Pneumonians to be people.
Which George Lucas, I don't think, does.
I don't think he does, no. And, so, like, pretty good. I like the stuff, too, because you also get a lot of interesting Jedi powers property. Like, when the droidicas show up, who are, like, these rolling robots that, like, unpack and, like, have, like, a bubble shield around them.
Droidicas are an all-time design.
It's such a cool design, yeah.
And the, like, sound of them rolling, perfect. Mm-hmm.
The sound design is just impeccable in this movie.
Yeah, no, like, they crushed it for this. Like, I mean, obviously, it's Star Wars. Like, the sound is always good, but every new sound, like it's got to be so hard to come into a franchise like Star Wars as a sound designer, because I know there's the original sound designers, but it's got to be so hard to come into something that has the lightsaber sound effect and be like, I need to add sounds to the canon that hold up.
Yeah,
and I think for the most part they really did.
Because they use pretty much every, like, the bots and stuff, the droidicas, they appear in the later prequels as well. Like, so, like, this is something that they kept on going. They didn't really revise a lot of things. They just kept on expanding rather than, like, redoing. Which
you really, if you didn't nail it on this one, like that, you got to get all of the sounds right if you're going to have these guys for 3 movies.
Exactly, yeah. And so, like, the two Jedis are able to, like, escape down to a hangar, and they see, like,
they edit themselves out of the scene.
Yeah.
with a new force power.
Yeah. Hey, we can run really fast. Sure. Yeah. Why not? And they see, like, the Trade Federation is, like, planning for an invasion, so they're loading up all their transport ships with all kinds of battle droids. And so, like, Obi-Wan says, like, or Qui-Gon's like, hey, Obi-Wan, let's split up and get different ships. It doesn't matter because they just instantly, like, we see them on the planet right away. Like,
and the ships just seem to be full of battle droids anyway, so who was going to see them?
Yeah. They kind of say yada yada through that, and then, like, you get down to the surface in Naboo there. We finally get to see Queen Amidala, who's played by Natalie Portman for the most part, but often Keira Knightley as the double.
Can we get into the double now? Can we?
Yes, please.
No sense. Makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
It only makes sense to set up a thing that happens in the next movie.
Yeah.
Which is less of a surprise because we know that she does that.
It's a fake out. Yeah, it's just a fake out at the start of the second movie. That's all it matters.
But also, it's not a big fake out in the second movie because we know that she often has a double.
Yeah.
Like, if you, like, the big reveal in this one when she's like, aha, I have a double, is because they go to Boss Nass to ask for his help, and he's like, I'm not dealing with the queen. And she's like, actually, I'm the queen. And he's like, cool, I like you now.
Yeah.
What?
And, like, who was doing... The only person who was doing doubles and stuff was, like, Saddam Hussein a few years before. Like,
it's also kind of insulting to show up to a meeting with Boss Nass and have someone else pretend to be you.
Yeah. Also, the whole, like, I think the prequel trilogy, especially the romance between Anakin and Padme, because Anakin's, like, 8 in this movie, and Padme's, like, 14. So, like, I think it would have made a lot more sense if Padme remained, like, the handmaiden or something. And like, she was just, like, the assistant to the queen or something like that, and the queen could just be Keira Knightley or something like that. And it wasn't just, like, the leader of some planet falling in love with a literal child. Like,
I don't see them falling in love in this. Like, I don't get a sense of romance. It does seem more wholesome that she's kind of looking out for him because she feels bad that he's this little kid that they took along on their adventure.
Yeah, it's like a babysitter feeling bad. Like,
yeah, which is fine, and you can spin that from the other things. I just think that if you're going to do her switching places with her double, it doesn't need more explanation than when they're on Tatooine and she's like, or Captain Tanaka's like, oh, the Queen insists that her handmaiden goes because she wants to learn about the planet. That's all you need. It just needs to be that she pretends to be her own handmaid so that she can learn about the universe. And maybe you can spin that into, oh, she's not easily tricked now by the, Chancellor Valorum, or like, you can tie it into the story, but it doesn't need to be a weird fake out in this movie that I've been switching places the whole time.
Like, she's like hilarious. Like, all right, Chancellor Valorum, I know how to deal with you because I've dealt with Watto in the past.
Yeah, I met some weird, underhanded, scummy characters, and I'm not a naive 14-year-old queen now. I think is fine. Like, you can have that be the reason why she's changing places because she wants to learn about the galaxy or whatever.
Yeah,
it just doesn't make sense for the reveal in this movie.
Not at all.
She's changing places for no reason.
And speaking of disgusting monsters like Watto, we now run into Jar Jar Binks on the planet. Because like the transports are like mowing, like driving through a forest there. Animals are fleeing away, and Jar Jar Binks as the Gungan there. He's like a frog monster. Everyone knows what Jar Jar Binks look like, and like Qui-Gon Jinn like knocks him down, saves his life. So now, I guess Jar Jar Binks owes Obi-Wan a life debt, which apparently
Obi-Wan collects technically kind of 2 slaves on this planet.
He does, yeah.
Also, this movie does not respect Jar Jar Binks.
To be fair, do you respect Jar Jar Binks?
No, because the movie told me not to respect Jar Jar Binks. Do you remember the first line Obi-Wan Kenobi says when he meets Jar Jar Binks?
He calls him an it, doesn't he?
He says, "What's this?"
What's this? Yeah, like...
Jar Jar Binks, in that scene, is talking to Qui-Gon.
Yeah. And this is a universe full of, like, alien monsters like him. So
you meet aliens all the goddamn time. Yeah. Your best friend is a 4-armed, greasy spoon diner owner.
But also, to be fair, like, remember when we first see, like, one of the first times we see Obi-Wan Kenobi in A New Hope, like, he's, like, slicing off some alien's arm, like, at a bar?
Like, true. It does kind of imply he's just a space racist.
Yeah.
He walks up and they're having a conversation. He just goes, "What's this?" and points at Jar Jar.
Yeah. But, like, also with Jar Jar Binks, because, like, he's a character that gets a lot of shit. And I think, like, some of the shit is absolutely deserved. But Ahmed Best, the actor, got, like, really bad shit from the fans. And Star Wars fans are really awful. Like, he was, like, suicidal at points in time because of, like, the reception to his character there. And I think it's funny because like people soften on their hatred for Ahmed Best as Jar Jar Binks as well as Hayden Christensen as Anakin in the sequels, and like they've both been able to come back to the franchise in their own ways to like applause at conventions and stuff. But at the same time, the fans have been awful to any person of color in those sequels trilogies as well as the Disney Plus shows. So like sure they like haven't learned, the fans have not learned their lessons with it, but like it's interesting people coming around to like not despising Jar Jar Binks and not hating Hayden Christensen in these movies. And I think they're given thankless tasks. It's not their fault that, Jar Jar Binks' problem is not the actor, it's the conception of the character.
It's nice to know that in 20 years, people on Reddit will be able to accept the presence of an Asian woman in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Should we appear at a convention without getting,
death
shot?
Yeah, you can have a black male lead and not be super weird about it.
Yeah, and it's a really bad cycle that it'll probably happen eventually. But fans should just not take it out on the actors, their issues with these characters.
Fandom is almost inherently always toxic, but also 100%. Companies need to. That's also on Disney to protect They're actors.
And they've done such a bad job with it too. Like they've been on record for doing a bad job protecting anyone and who they employ. But yeah, so like on Naboo there, so like because they're the Trade Federation's like preparing for a siege. They're outside the main cities where the Queen is and such. So Jar Jar is like, hey, like, come with me to the Gungan city underwater, and I will help you get to where you need to go. So Jar Jar does like his like crazy flip jump into the air, and they go underwater to the Gungan Sea, and the Gungan Sea looks pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, it's a really nice design. I love that it's not just on the seafloor either. It sort of floats in the middle of the water.
Yeah,
very cool.
Which makes you wonder like just that alone is like what is their culture fully like? You don't really it really sparks your imagination a little bit. Like what are the Gungans like fully, and we immediately find out like once we get down that Gungan is like the idiot of them. Like they all speak like him, but everyone fucking hates him for being a clumsy idiot.
Jar Jar is an outlawed criminal.
Yeah,
who doesn't
because he's
really
clumsy.
Ever describe what he did. He describes what he did in kind of goofy Jar Jar talk, and it's like, I feel like you're leaving a lot of details out there, my guy.
Yeah. I read this one article about a year ago, because like this episode has been in the works for a while. Like I've been trying to get someone. I've had a bunch of people cancel on me for Phantom Menace, but like I had some prepped a while ago. But like there's a linguist that looked at what the Gungan language is like, and they looked at the original script versus how like the final product, and the shooting script had like a lot more consistency with how Jar Jar and Gungans talked, but like because George Lucas doesn't really care much about the performances of actors too much, like a lot of there's no real consistency with how the Gungans speak, because George was like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. Like Ahmed just like you can say Misa sometimes, you can say I sometimes, so pronouns aren't always a big deal in the Gungan language.
Well, maybe he's from a different neighborhood than Boss Nass and that guard that keeps showing up, who I don't remember his name, but the guy that really doesn't like Jar Jar.
Yeah. And like, so they're taking to Boss Nass, who's another awesome character. So Boss Nass is a really fat Gungan.
Okay. What is... I'm going to ask a question.
I love this movie.
Can anyone explain sexual dimorphism in Gungans? Because what is Boss Nass?
Yeah, is it kind of a thing with like a queen bee, where if you get fed like a lot of like jelly as a child, you turn into a boss for the Gungan culture?
Or like an orangutan will like their face will become like bigger and change when they're like the like head big, or because he doesn't have eye stalks.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Boss Nass looks more like a toad. He doesn't have protruding eye stalks. Yeah.
He also does the whole like the best thing about Boss Nass, he does the thing like every time like he it's occasionally he speaks, so he just like does like a big like he like flaps his gums and stuff all over the place, spits everywhere.
That's just a Brian Blessed thing.
Yeah.
It's not even Boss Nass.
Yeah. Like Jar Jar doesn't do that. Like if Jar Jar did that, I'd probably vomit, but like
because my realization watching this time and my theory is that Boss Nass is not a Gungan.
Yeah.
Boss Nass is a different parasitic species, much like a cuckoo, which is he's gotten into Gungan society and now he runs it as some sort of weird parasitic queen. It's like a wasp among honeybees. It makes no sense.
Like do you think he's like, oh fuck, I have to get involved with like, but that's why he's so willing to send the whole army to the death at the end of the movie, right?
Yeah,
because it's like it's not even like they're like the big plan is just like, all right, us all the white people in Naboo there, all right, we need a distraction army. You subspecies, you Gungans there, you're the distraction army. You can all die on our behalf. And Boss Nass is like, we will do our part. But they're not his people, so he doesn't care.
Yeah, he'll just find a new. You'll look over in the Senate, and he'll be there with like 3 Yodas, and they're like, "Yeah, no, this is like Rhoda. He runs Yoda Planet now. Him and Yaddle are married."
But eventually, like Qui-Gon Jinn's able to use like a Jedi mind trick on Boss Nass at one point, so he's not apparently that smart of a character. But Qui-Gon is able to like convince him, like, hey, let's keep Jar Jar to like guide us through the underwater stuff, which they let him do. And so again, like, it was pretty
a
cool.
Scene where we get our third new Jedi power for people keeping track at home.
Yeah.
Where he casually uses his Jedi powers of date rape on Jar Jar.
Yeah. And yeah, because like underwater, there's a whole big sequence there. Like, Jar Jar's the one who knows there's a lot of fish monsters underwater. They're bigger than the last. But Jar Jar's like freaking the fuck out nonstop. And like, Qui-Gon Jinn's just like, or is it Obi-Wan Kenobi that,
No, Qui-Gon reaches from behind and is like, relax. And Vulcan nerve pinches him.
And he just falls asleep. He's like, completely conks out. Like,
yeah, it's crazy. It never comes up again.
Yeah. But, yeah, so they immediately just end up, like, they get through the planet's core, I guess. I guess the planet's core is hollow and not full of, like, lava or whatever.
A line I did not understand as a kid when Boss Nass says, going through the planet core, like that. Like, he really, like, stresses it, and I had no clue what he said.
Yeah.
I remember that in the theater.
I was watching with subtitles this time, and I still couldn't understand half the Gungan speak. Like... But, yeah, so they arrive at Theed, the planetary capital there, and, they sneak around inside, like, they are able to, reach, the Queen and everything, who are, like, being detained. So, you don't see any civilians, like, really being, like, wrangled to concentration camps or anything. You just,
you
like,
see the
like,
pilots.
Yeah, that's about it, though, but, like,
and then they all run away, and I don't know where they go.
Yeah.
Because some of them run onto the ship, some of them just run off. It's weird. And a lot of people run onto that ship.
Yeah. So now the Queen's with Qui-Gon Obi-Wan. They've defeated some battle droids there. And they got into like a royal, like a star cruiser there, with the goal to reach to Coruscant because they want Amidala to like, make a plea to the Senate there about how like, hey, this Trade Federation, they're fucking our shit up. And as they're escaping there, they leave the planet and all these blockade ships are shooting at them. And it's like, hey, let's send our astromechs up there to, like, fix the ship and everything. So now we get to meet R2-D2. Apparently this is his origin story. He's the only droid that doesn't get completely fucked up.
He doesn't get blown up. He's a mechanic that didn't die.
Yeah. And, yeah, so the ship's hyperdrive's all fucked up, so they have to, like, shit, we gotta go, like, find a junkyard somewhere. So they find, like, oh, yeah, shit, like, Google Maps tells us there's, like, a really shitty place called Tatooine we can go to. It's beyond the Republic's jurisdiction, but they maybe have, like, the starter we need to keep on going.
There's also a scene on the ship where Queen Amidala meets Jar Jar.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, oh, are you a Gungan? Implying she doesn't even know what they look like.
Which is insane. Like,
she theoretically runs all of the land of the planet.
Yeah. But even if you're, like, like... Queen Victoria and you have all these colonies in Africa, like, you wouldn't be completely shocked, like, oh, like, you're from the colonies, like...
No, I feel like Queen Victoria probably would have said some horrible things.
She probably said some horrible things, but she's completely shocked, like, what is this? Like, I don't know, if I saw Gungan for the first time, I'd be vomiting all over the place, but, like...
Well, yeah, but it's just crazy that she doesn't even know what a Gungan looks like or is.
Yeah. But to be fair, she's 14 years old, she's not that worldly.
True.
Do you think that the way that democracy works in Naboo, that like they're like, they usually normally elect, like, 50-year-olds, like, people who are proper age for elected office there, but, like, it's kind of like running for school council in high school and be like, I'm gonna put Coca-Cola in all the water fountains there, and like,
and that's why they believes them every time.
Yeah.
There's how I believe it runs, and then there's how I know it is supposed to run because of Star Wars stuff I've read.
Yeah.
And from what I remember, it's that they vote, because in the next movie, she's no longer the queen. She's the senator. There's a new queen who's a different 15-year-old girl.
And there's a deleted scene in Attack of the Clones where they meet the new queen or something like that. And, like, she mentions something about being elected princess and then being elected queen. Which is like, George, do you know how words work? Like,
and I think you can only be queen for, like, 3 years or something.
Yeah.
So they keep just electing, like, different teen girls to be queen.
Yeah. Oh god, like, what perverts on that planet, like.
Well, Charles Dance for one, apparently, according to Peter Serafinowicz.
Is Charles Dance in this movie?
Wasn't it Charles Dance who not Charles Dance. Oh, what's his name? Oh, I don't remember his name. The guy that plays Chancellor Valorum.
Oh, Terrence Stamp.
Sorry, Terrence Stamp. Yeah. Because that was Peter Serafinowicz' story, was that he only took it to meet Natalie Portman.
Oh, yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, that's where it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
Because at this point, Natalie Portman was, like, known for, like...
Apologies to Charles Dance for just drive-by there.
But, like, at this point, Natalie Portman was, like, known for, like, Leon's Professional, where he plays, like, the girl that, like,
the girl that Luc Besson wanted
to fuck.
Jean Reno to have sex with?
Yep. Yeah, the only reason that they don't have sex in that movie is because he cut that scene from the screenplay. Because that happens in the original screenplay. Because Luc Besson is a pedophile.
I think it's, Jean Reno refused to film it, according to him.
Yeah. And she was also, like, the Al Pacino's daughter in Heat. So, like, she was just known for being a literal child star at this point in time.
She was also a child.
Yep. Yeah, like, she was, like, 17, 18 at this point in time. Like, same with Keira Knightley. She's a kid in this movie, too. Like...
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so they end up down on Tatooine, the place where Luke Skywalker's from, the original trilogy. We spent a lot of time there.
The place where Watto is from.
Maybe. Watto is the best. At
least where Watto lives.
Yeah. Like, how does Watto... I want Watto origins, or, like,
Yeah, fuck Mandalorian. I don't care about that. Where's the Watto movie?
Yeah, like, we got, like, a shitty Boba Fett TV show. Where's the Book of Watto? Like...
I just want... can they just remake Sanford and Son, and it's just Watto and a different slave working the junk shop?
Same theme song, too.
Yeah. Yes. Just the Cantina Band cover of the Sanford and Son theme.
It's a jizz music cover of the Sanford and Son theme.
Their neighbor is Max Rebo. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. Like, they've already done these, like, self-serious, like, hour-long Star Wars shows. We need, like, a Star Wars multicam sitcom, like Seinfeld or Big Bang Theory, but, like, have it be about Watto. Have a laugh track.
Get the guys that make Always Sunny to make the Watto show.
Yeah, oh my god, yes.
Just an unrepentant, horrible junk dealer, man.
Yeah. But, yeah, so they're on the planet there, so... Obi-Wan Kenobi just, like, fucking dick around the ship. He doesn't do anything in his whole segment of the movie. And Qui-Gon, Jar Jar, R2, and Padme, who is a handmaiden, who is, like, the queen is sending her to investigate the place. They go to Mos Espa to try and find, new parts to fix the hyperdrive. And here they run into Watto, who is a flying blue bumblebee creature with a huge schnoz. I've seen Jewish people be offended by this character. I've seen Italians be offended by this character. The joy of Lucas Star Wars prequels is that all the racial stereotypes, I feel like everyone can claim them as their own. Like, they're attacking them. Like Dexter Jetster in the second one, I've seen Greeks say it's them. I've seen, like, Croat, like, people in Eastern Europe say it's them too. Like, it's like a weirdly broad, specific racial caricature because it comes from weirdly broad, specific racial caricatures from movies from the 40s. Of characters played by non-people of color actors portraying a stereotype. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like a weird recursive, like, Mickey Rooney Asian, like, offensive character.
Yeah.
And you're now doing that as, like, a space person. So it's like 3 levels of abstraction from, like, even what you were trying to do in the first place.
But Watto is like he's like, they don't have any money to buy these parts, so, like, Watto's like, no money, no pots, no deal. But Watto is also, his shop has a 9-year-old slave whose name's Anakin Skywalker, who we may know from the original trilogy as he grows to become Darth Vader.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
You can't tell people that until you do episode 3.
I love when the Blank Check podcast, their original bit for the show is that they, the Phantom podcast, where they watched episode 1 as if it was the only Star Wars movie.
Oh, yes, I remember that. That was forever ago. That was such a good bit.
Such a funny bit. So they did 10 episodes on the Phantom Menace as the only Star Wars movie. And then it's like, oh shit, turns out George Lucas made a second one. So they did Attack of the Clones in 10 episodes. And then they did Revenge of the Sith there. Then they did, like, the original trilogy as the 4th, 5th, and 6th movies.
I can't wait for this Watto character to keep coming back.
Yeah.
Mixing it up with Qui-Gon.
Yeah. And, like, but yeah, so this shitty Anakin kid played by Jake Lloyd, like, again, like George Lucas, not a great director of actors, so it's not his fault, but he's kind of annoying. He's like a bowl cut. He's like, a very 90s child in a movie.
And 90s in the sense of we don't really still know what makes a good child actor.
Exactly, yeah.
We think what makes a good child actor is, can you say the line correctly every time and enunciate? Like,
he sees Padme, he's like, "Are you an angel? I heard people talk about angels."
Kid's got an incredible pickup line he learned from those junk dealers.
Hey, it works. Like,
it doesn't come across weird at all.
He ends up fucking her, so... It betrays his entire Jedi order and commits genocide for her, and because of that line. Like, if Padme's like, "Ew, like, fuck off, little kid," like, would not... The galaxy would be a better place.
As you should say to all weird little Cretan children.
Yeah.
Just get away.
Yeah. But, yeah, so, like, Qui-Gon's like, "Hey, like, there's a strong presence of the Force with this weird little kid there." And they're going to head back to their ship, but there's a big sandstorm coming. So, like, Anakin brings him back to, like, his mom's place, which is, like, a very nice, like, 2-floor house and everything. They live very nice for slaves.
I mean, they're still slaves.
But, like, I don't know, they have a pretty good life. Like,
they also have, like, a microchip collar that blows up your head if you run away.
I think Watto's just making that up.
Anakin describes it in detail, and Shmi kind of is just like, yup.
Yeah. I still think, but also, like, I don't know. I think Watto's just making it up to spook them.
I assume Anakin's whole little crew of friends are all slaves.
Yeah,
because he does say here, or in maybe it's in Watto's like junk job. He does say he wants to come back and free all the slaves when he grows up.
Yeah, yeah. Like his group of friends there. You get we get Kickster is the character's name.
I will also say Baby Greedo is way better than Baby Yoda.
Yep. Yeah, where's the Baby Yoda movie? Baby Greedo movie.
Baby Greedo, I would watch that before I want to watch a Baby Yoda.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want subtitles or it to be in English, for the record.
Yeah.
Greedo, I want Baby Greedo speaking in his own language.
Yeah. And so, like, they're talking about, like, how, like, this place is, like, Tatooine is too far away from the Republic, so the laws don't affect them too, so slavery still exists here. They don't have any money to get the parts there, but Anakin's apparently a good pod racer, and pod racing is an incredibly dangerous sport where he's, like, copying out some engines there and, like, from spaceships and just, like do, like a chariot race, pretty much. And Qui-Gon Jinn makes a comment, like, "I've seen pod racing before, like, Malastare is very fast, very dangerous." Like, Qui-Gon Jinn's seen these things before. Like, he's probably season tickets to the pod race on a different planet.
He also knows, then, what he is asking a 9-year-old child to do.
Yeah, and Anakin's like, "I'm the only human that can do it." Like, he's a very special boy, because clearly he's strong with the Force and has great reflexes.
It's also insane that Qui-Gon takes him at his word there.
That would be such a better movie, a different movie, if, like, during the quad race, Anakin dies instantly, like, and Qui-Gon's like, "Uh-oh, shit, I wagered my entire ship."
You put a child in an F1 car.
Yeah.
He just slams into a wall immediately.
At least he's wearing a helmet. No gloves, though.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, Anakin, like, is showing off this little pod there. Fucking Jar Jar Binks gets his, like, tongue stuck in the coupler or something like that. So, like, his, like, tongue is all numb, so he gets this fun little Jar Jar bit, was kind of annoying. But yeah, Anakin immediately fucks up too. So, like, he gets, like, a big scrape in his arm. So while Qui-Gon's, like, looking over the scrape there, he, like, takes some of his blood and, like, "All right, let's scan this blood." So, like, he's like
casually steals a child's blood to test.
Yeah, and, like, he, like, contacts Obi-Wan Kenobi, like, "Hey, check the adrenochrome on this child, see what it's like." And, like,
the tests come back as delicious.
Yeah. I feel younger already.
Can we save this? Ewan. Can we sell this to Space Teal?
Yeah. QAnon Jinn. But apparently his midi-chlorian count is higher than Master Yoda, so apparently it's going to be a very strong Jedi. And
insane thing to add to the canon.
Yeah, which is midi-chlorians are it's just dumb, right? Trying to, like, make the Force a scientific thing.
It's just such a way more clunky way to do it than to just be like, oh, he's a human and can do the pod race. That could have been what proved he's a really powerful Jedi.
Exactly, yeah. Which the movie ultimately has. Like, it's just like we already know he's like has great reflexes because he can do what all these aliens cannot. Like,
or during the pod race, Sebulba sets off a trap and a big rock's going to fall on his pod racer, and he pushes it out of the way at the last second and drives by.
Yeah,
and Qui-Gon's like, "Oh."
If he just like just somehow uses the Force to figure things out. But,
yeah, just have him do a thing, not give him a blood test.
Yeah. At one point, Qui-Gon's talking to Shmi, the mother there, and like he's like, yeah, like your son's special. He has powers and stuff. And she's like, yes, I know. Like, he asks like, hey, who the father is? Like, she's like, there was no father. It's like, conceived by the Force or whatever. Which is like, you just got drunk and forgot who you slept with at a party, Shmi. Like,
clearly Watto is the father.
That would be hilarious. Like if like in Attack of the Clones when Padme and Anakin like first have sex or something like that, like he takes off his pants and his penis looks like Watto's nose.
I'm just saying. Apparently, Jedi mind tricks don't work on Toydarians.
Yeah.
So why is that? Maybe powerful Jedi user.
Yeah. So like Jedi mind tricks don't work on him because like Qui-Gon tries to like use that to like just get the parts from Watto for free. But I was like, all right, so like, we're gonna have to like barter our ship and our livelihoods to like for this pod race there. And
Qui-Gon also, we forgot to say, he Jedi mind tricks Boss Nass earlier.
Yeah.
To get the sub and to get Jar Jar to go with him. Yeah. So that seems to be his immediate first move in any encounter.
It's like, playing Knights of the Republic, like when you use the, Jedi mind tricks there, like sometimes you get some Sith points, sometimes you get some Jedi points. And I feel like Qui-Gon Jinn's a very neutral Jedi because like he's going to get a lot of Sith points for what he's doing. It's very
doesn't feel neutral at all.
Yeah.
He tries to Jedi mind trick a guy out of a bunch of money and his slave. Which is, like, kind of neutral if you think about, like, a good and a bad, but, like, crazy.
Yeah. But, so ultimately the race is going on. It's the Boonta Eve Classic that's happening, this big pod race. And Watto's going to pay the entrance fee. And so with this race there, if, like, they win, they get the parts as well as they get to free, like, Anakin. There's this one thing where, like, all right, so like I can use my chance cube. If the chance cube rolls blue, you get to free the boy. If it rolls red, you get to free the mother. And Qui-Gon uses like his the Force to, like manipulate the dice roll. As a chance cube, why don't you just do a coin flip? If it's just like because the chance cube is like 3 red spots on a dice and 3 blue spots. Like that's just like a 50-50.
I think if you watch it, it's like there's actually only like 2 blue spots. Maybe it looks like it's like,
okay,
or it's supposed to be loaded in some way.
Yeah.
Because Watto seems pretty, like, convinced. Watto throws it, he does the thing, and then Watto just flies away. He doesn't even pick it up.
Yeah. He has other ones at home.
Yeah.
So now we got the big pod race, which is an incredible sequence.
So good. It rules.
Yeah. So, like, Jabba the Hutt's back because he's the one who's announcing the race. Have you seen the clip go around for Jabba's son Rhoda the Hutt from the new movie?
No. I saw in the trailer there's a hut, or like a double hut.
Yeah, so he's supposed to be like Jabba's son or something. And like, but there's a clip that someone recorded in the theater of like how he speaks. And he sounds like Seth Rogen. He's like, I am not my father's son. I want to be my own man. And I was like, Hutts should sound like disgusting monsters. Like,
they should at least speak the language that's named for them.
Yeah.
They do speak Huttese.
Like, it's weird that they can speak, like, their vocal cords allow them to speak, Galactic Basic, which is what they call English in this franchise.
Anakin speaks Huttese in this movie.
Yeah.
Han Solo understands Huttese. What are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah, so... But yeah, Sebulba is... we've met Sebulba before. Sebulba is a... he's like... He is a Dug or Drug or something like that, whatever species is like... Yeah, the Dug, yeah. So he walks on his hands and like manipulates things with his feet.
He's a pervert's dream.
Yeah. He's already got one encounter with Jar Jar Binks because Jar Jar Binks accidentally throws like a fish into his soup or something like that, so they hate one another.
And then also, Sebulba's sort of like the big bad of the pod race thing. But in the pod race introduction, when we're going down the line, which is one of my favorite parts of the movie. It's just a parade of little weirdos. Mm-hmm. But they introduced a different guy as the 2-time, like, Boonta Eve champion.
Yeah.
Like, different guy is the defending champion, not Sebulba.
Maybe Sebulba was like a healthy scratch from the previous Boonta Eves or something.
Maybe. He was somewhere else.
Yeah.
He was racing in, like, GT3. He couldn't make it.
He's like a Keon Coleman just because, like, he's kept fucking up at practice. So, like, all right, you gotta show up to meetings on time, Sebulba. Like, you have to, you can't just keep, like, being a lazy bastard.
Sebulba is not a meetings guy. He, on the sidelines, has 2 Twi'lek women, like, giving him a massage.
Yeah. Sebulba fucks.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, this guy goes to Pound Town all the time.
Why do you think he uses his feet for hands? Not because he has to. That's just a him thing.
It's not a species thing. It's just him.
Yeah.
But yeah. So again, we talked about. You mentioned how like it's like parade of monsters and like how like all they have cool designs, but their pods have cool designs too. Because like it's like hobbled together like racers of like different engines and stuff. So different starships. Like it looks so cool.
The whole pod race is perfect because it's like you get every pod racer is unique. They're all these little weird little guys. Some of them are puppets. Some of them are CG. Every pod is unique. Every pod has its own sound, its own specific audio sound. Like so you can follow it through the race scenes. It's perfectly crafted.
Yeah. I was watching on my sound system and everything, and it just sounded impeccable. It sounded so cool.
Do you mind if I date? It doesn't matter that people know when we're recording this, right? It doesn't matter for you for releasing these. No. So Montreal Grand Prix was today.
Yeah.
Which I just watched. And
I was watching part of it too, yeah.
Anakin's pod in this is just the sound of an F1 car.
Mm-hmm.
And then like Sebulba's is like kind of like a chugging like V8, almost like diesel sound. And that like Anakin's like F1 pod going through the canyons and everything, perfect sound design.
Yeah. And also during this race, because it's extremely fast. Like I remember like playing the video game, I think it was like 600 miles per hour or something like that. These pods go.
And it's only 3 laps.
Yeah. It's pretty short actually for a race. Like
everyone got out there and it was like a 3-minute to 10-minute race. And I think only like only one pod crosses the finish line.
Yeah. Maybe that's why the races can't be that long. It's like kind of how the football season cannot go past 17 games.
It's like when a race gets rained out and they're like, we're just gonna it's half the distance now.
Yeah. But yeah, we see like slowly all these pods in the race like crash and burn and stuff and explode.
I think doesn't Ben Quadranero's blow up on the line?
Yeah. Ben Quadranero is like a little like quad jet thing, but he looks like he looks like a bit like what was I supposed to describe him? He looks like a potato man. Like
he's got 4 arms, hence his name, because you know Star Wars. And but he also kind of looks like a flounder. Like he's very flat.
Yeah, very flat face. Yeah, like Odie Mandel, who looks like Abe from Oddworld. You get like
Odie Mandel, whose name you'll never forget because of Greg Proops, the announcer, being like, "Wanda, Odie Mandel!"
Yeah.
Like the whole crowd goes crazy.
Yeah. Like these creatures just have like a great look, and like it's funny. I think canonically they all live except for that one little like small little critter that like explodes in the tunnel.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And according to expanded universe stuff, he had a whole family that watched him die horribly during the race.
Well, he went out, how he'd want to.
Yeah, maybe he was fighting for his freedom too. Maybe like there's other Wattos that are that own everyone else.
I know the little stick bug guy is Gasgano.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the guy that dies.
Oh, I forgot what his name is. I'm just gonna type in "guy who dies in pod race." Guy who dies in pod race.
Space Arton.
Rats Tyrell.
Rats Tyrell? That is a sick race car. That's a NASCAR name.
Yeah. And he just like waves little arms and makes like just about to explode.
I love the one guy that crashes and goes like roar, and makes a horrible little like roar noise like he's roaring.
Yeah. That would be Mahonic that does that. But okay, so apparently Rats Tyrell, his fatal death led to widespread protests, which eventually caused pod racing to be outlawed in many parts of the galaxy. That's bullshit.
We didn't outlaw F1, and like 2 beloved drivers died on one weekend once.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, like Damar Hamlin died playing football and came back. Like,
The fucking track is named after Villeneuve, and he died, like, at a race.
yeah,
Like, they didn't outlaw F1. They were like, we should make it safer.
Yeah, we should make it safer and do more of it.
They just need to put a halo on the pod, on the little pod racers.
Yeah.
So that when they roll over, it doesn't kill them.
But honestly, he wasn't wearing much of a helmet either. He was wearing a little cap. Like,
well, we do need standardized safety equipment, because that one guy is just wearing goggles.
Yeah.
So Bulba's got, like, goggles on top of his head that he's half the time doesn't even use.
Yeah, they're not wearing seatbelts either. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, this race is
one of the racers is a child.
Yeah, exactly.
That can't be legal.
There's a literal 8-year-old boy who is the only one of his species who can do this. Like,
and we don't know if any of the other. Sebulba might be 7. I don't know.
Maybe his species only lives to 8 or something. Maybe he's like,
or he could be a child of his species. He could be a Doug child. No idea. Odie Mandrell could have been 7.5. Like, this might just be child slave racing.
Yeah. Like, that's a better reason to outlaw it than just being, it's a little bit dangerous to watch. Because, like, honestly, the more dangerous a sport, the more fun it is to watch sometimes.
Anakin's pit crew is Baby Greedo and another human child slave. That's his pit crew. 2 other children and a Gungan.
Okay. Do you think FanDuel will let you bet on the child racers in the pod race?
No, but Polymarket will.
Polymarket, like, they say, like, oh yeah, you cannot bet on people dying and stuff, but they'll also have a Polymarket bet. It's like, will they finish the race or not? Which is the same thing.
Buying a rifle and a Tusken Raider mask to affect the outcome of my Polymarket bet.
Man, I'm going to get a Tusken Raider mask and a rifle and go to a Dolphins game to affect that matchup.
Shooting Ben Quadraneros in turn 7 just so I make an extra $50 on Calpy.
Shooting Tua Tagovailoa, put him out of his misery.
Sorry, but I need extra money this year on Kalshi, so I'm going to have to sort of crack somebody in the ribs in my Tusken Raider outfit. Yeah, I think I got attacked by a donkey, man. I didn't see him coming. I just had to run away.
Yeah, the fact that there's people, like, shooting racers in the track, too, that's such a cool element, too. Like, that's a fun callback, because, like, it is Tatooine. There are Tusken Raiders going around, but I love the idea that, like, that's just a thing that happens during these races. Like, it's not a big shock. Like,
it's also sick that, like, the Tuskens are just kind of posted up on a specific turn.
Yeah.
And they're also just, like, clearly cracked a couple beers, hanging out up there. It's a long weekend, they're just having fun.
That's how they spend their Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah. If someone told you, hey, it's $300 to go sit in the stands, or it's free to sit up on turn 3 with a musket and shoot at the NASCARs.
Yeah. And you probably won't get in any trouble for doing it. Like,
yeah. Like, you're going to do that.
Yeah. Like, the person who's in charge of pretty much seeing this whole area, like, Jabba the Hutt, he's asleep during half of it. Like,
because he is like a true real F1 fan. He just sort of falls asleep after, like, lap 5 until lap 50, and he's good to go.
Jabba the Hutt's kind of like a Jerry Jones type. Like, he's just old bastard way past his prime, like, running the sport. Like, he can't run. Maybe, like, because the Boonty Eve Classic, like, is it supposed to be the best race in the area, or is it like some shitty race that's going on? Is there
I assume it's like, if this is the Boonty Classic, this is just one in the pod race series, which also makes it insane that all of the racers die. One guy wins and is never heard from again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, do you think like in like 5 years' time, like, it's funny, like, Attack of the Clones, like, hey, like, Anakin Skywalker, you Jedi Knight, aren't you the guy who won the Boonty Eve Classic? Aren't you a racer? Like, I have your rookie card. Like,
yeah, like we all thought you were going to show up the next weekend at Space Talladega.
Yeah,
I had money on you. What? Yeah. Where did you go?
Yeah, you didn't go to the Space Kentucky Derby. Why did you play that race? Like,
you joined the army.
You joined a pedophile cult. Okay.
Like, I'm a clone trooper. I didn't have a choice. Why are you in our army? Aren't you a race car driver?
Yeah.
Could you imagine you go and you watch, like, you watch a race, And then, like, 5 years later, Jeff Gordon is your commanding officer. No context.
Like, wait, why is Lewis Hamilton telling me to jump out of a plane right now?
Yeah. Why does Lewis Hamilton have a sword and is in charge of us?
Yeah. Brian, you gotta go, like, attack Iran right now. Like, I don't want to do that.
Max Verstappen told me I had to drive a tank? I thought he did cars. What is happening? I haven't seen that guy in 8 years and he comes back a general?
Oh, God, yeah, they should put us in charge of Star Wars. Fuck Dave Filoni. Like, his dumbass Cowboys hat. Like,
we're just making Pod Racer 2.
Yeah. But, yeah, ultimately, Anakin wins the race. Sebulba uses some dirty tricks, but Anakin's able to, recouple his rocket things there, this car, and hit the finish line. And Sebulba crashes and burns, but he survives. He says poodoo, because he knows he lost.
Yeah. I mean,
and everyone's all happy and celebrating, and
we get a couple more yippies.
Yippies. And Qui-Gon talks to Watto, but says something about it, and Watto's like, you knew something was up here with this bet. And he tries to renege on it, but then Qui-Gon's like, oh, go to Jabba the Hutt, and he'll fuck you up if you don't give me this slave boy.
It's so insane that he has a third party threaten Watto.
Yeah.
He's got a lightsaber. Like, at this point, just pull your lightsaber if you're going to threaten him.
Yeah, just like, I don't know, just like, I would just, like, I personally would not kill Watto because Watto's my favorite character in Star Wars. But if I was Qui-Gon Jinn, I would just slice him in half and say, like, I don't know, a Tusken Raider did or something. Like,
you could probably get Obi-Wan to do it. He will not feel anything.
Yeah. But so Anakin learns he's free. He's going to be brought to a Coruscant to learn to become a Jedi Knight. He's all sad though because his mother can't come with them. So they're about to make it back to their ship and everything. But also, meanwhile, a Phantom Menace, some guy in a dark hood, Darth Sidious, is going to send his apprentice to find the ship of the escaped Naboo. And as they're running to the ship there, they run into Darth Maul attacking them. And they're all kind of shocked because, like, what the fuck? The Sith haven't been around for thousands of years. Which,
again, they have a little, like, fight, and then Qui-Gon escapes, and Obi-Wan's first thing he says to him is, what was it?
Yeah.
Not who was that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Crazy space racist.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because, like, it's, like, I'm sure, like, I don't know, like, you run into new species all the time in the galaxy in Star Wars. It's not like you're completely shocked to see. Like, if I were to see an alien for the first time, like, I'd be like, what the fuck was that? What was it? Like, if you run into aliens, like, every single day of your life, like, you can't say that. Like,
it's just a guy in a hood.
Yeah.
Like, he sees that it's a guy in a hood.
Yeah. But, Darth Maul has a great look to him, and voiced by Peter Serafinowicz. And I think they overdid Darth Maul in the expanded universe stuff, because he dies in this, but he comes back like a million times. There's a Darth Maul TV show, which I have not watched yet.
He's just another Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Nobody can die.
He's just a cool-looking dude that dies early, that he just, like, ran to the ground. But, so then they fly back to Coruscant there, the capital of the galaxy there, the Republic capital, and the whole planet's a city, and honestly, all the Coruscant stuff looks pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it also for being the first time that we've really seen a planet like that. I mean, I know in the extended you get like a one-shot scene, but you don't really get to see any giant cityscapes in the OG.
Yeah. And I love how, like, the way that traffic works, everyone, like, flies in lanes in the sky and everything.
Yeah. It does really seem like a bureaucratic nightmare of a planet.
Yeah. Do you think on Coruscant there's, like, one, like, football team, or do you think, like, each district has their own?
I would assume each district has their own, because there's so many people. I mean, if LA has, like, 3...
Yeah.
Coruscant can have 8.
Yeah.
They have their own league.
It's probably some discussing, like, Coruscant Jets team that's, like, even worse than the Coruscant Giants. They've been ran to the ground for years.
Is there a Coruscant pod course?
Oh, maybe.
Because there is in the game, isn't there?
Not Coruscant. No, there's other like city places, but not Coruscant.
Because I remember you're in like the basement of that one city. I don't remember where it is.
Yeah. Do you think the Coruscant Giants quarterback introduced Palpatine for a rally?
He wouldn't even do that. Real life Giants quarterback would.
Yeah, fucking Jackson Dart.
It depends on how good the space helmets are, I guess.
Jackson Dart is a Star Wars name.
Yeah, it's like Dexter Jetster.
Yeah, it sounds so fake.
Yeah. Jackson Dart sells you death sticks in a bar. He's a real sleemo, that Jackson Dart.
And but yeah, so like the big thing is the Coruscant stuff. So like the Jedis, they go to the Jedi Council, so we get to meet Yoda, Yoda is a puppet in the original version of this movie, but like the puppet looks horrifying and disgusting, so they changed it to CGI for later releases.
Yeah. Was it a puppet in like theaters when it first came out?
It was, yeah. And I had the VHS tape of this movie too, and it was a puppet then too. But
yeah,
like,
I had the VHS too. I don't like that's so crazy. I don't remember the change.
Yeah, and honestly, the CGI doesn't look that bad. But we also see other members of the Jedi Council too. So it's like Samuel L. Jackson's Mace Windu. You get Ki-Adi Mundi, who they changed his birthday, and Acolyte fans got pissed off and sent death threats to the creators.
Because they changed his birthday?
Yeah, because apparently, because the Acolyte takes place like 100 years before, like the prequel trilogy, and he's in it, but looks like an adult. But apparently, according to the old canon, Ki-Adi Mundi is only like 60 years old.
Oh man!
So fans got really pissed off, but also people hated that show because there's black women and lesbians. So,
well, I mean, can't have him changing his birth date, and that's the only reason I'm upset about this show. Definitely, yeah. That's why I'm sending death threats.
Yeah. We also get the Lady Yoda Yaddle.
Yeah, Yaddle.
Yeah, and like other like Plo Koon. There's like they have good designs, and of course with the Clone Wars TV show, everyone has like an insane backstory. And despite Order 66 killing all the Jedi, somehow all of them live and like have their own adventures afterwards.
Basically all of the named characters, yeah. Yeah.
And but yeah, so like, you know, they're trying to test Anakin Skywalker to see if like, you know, he's a strong Jedi Knight or not. And you know, but Yoda's like, oh, he's too old to become a Jedi because like, you know, apparently they try to mold these kids when they're like 2 years old to become a part of their order.
Yoda's kind of sassy in this scene.
He is, yeah. Yoda's he's a bit of a dick.
Yeah, like, and also I was surprised at how little Mace Windu there is.
Mm-hmm.
Like he hardly talks.
Yeah, like he's bigger, way bigger in the sequels. But like, you know, Samuel Jackson's a pretty big get. Like he's like, you know,
he's also the only guy on the Jedi Council,
and he's good. He's good for these movies. Like, he's not asked too much to do, but like, he has the gravitas. Like,
yeah, but it's just crazy to have a non-person in makeup or CG character, and he's got like one line in that first scene you see him.
Yeah, a couple. Yeah, like not many. Yeah. So, but also meanwhile, with the whole Senate part is so Palpatine is the senator for Naboo. Of course, he's off.
But I don't think I ever really had the thought until watching it this time. He's just a guy from Naboo.
Yeah.
Like, Palpatine's just a dude from Naboo.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Yeah. So, like, he knows what, like, I don't know, Rise of Skywalker. Rey could have been like, hey, Palpatine, what are your thoughts on Gungans? Like,
have you been back to Theed?
Yeah. Yeah, well, what's the deal with your planet's core? You can just, like, drive right through it.
What was up with that power room? Was that powering Palpatine's secret dark machinations?
Yeah. But I love the look of the Senate in this movie. And all these prequels, where it's, like, a giant, like, almost, like, it's, like, a giant room, and everyone, as they're speaking, is, like, a little, like pod, like a circular pod, and they fly around in the Senate as, like, you know, it's their turn to speak, because, like, it really shows the galaxy is huge. Like, everyone who's a delegate to the Senate there has their own, like, you know, has their own pod and everything. There's also within the sequence too. There's some ETs.
Yeah, from the ET planet.
Which is funny.
And there's a Wookiee delegation.
Yeah, love seeing the Wookiees. But Palpatine's whispering shit into Amidala's ear about how Chancellor Valoran, played by Terrence Stamp, he's run by the bureaucrats who are paid off by the Trade Federation there. So Palpatine convinces Amidala to call for a vote of no confidence to get rid of Valorum, because this whole crisis is getting out of control. The vote's successful, so now they're going to vote for a new chancellor eventually. But Palpatine's going to be as a top candidate. It's him, some guy from Alderaan, some other guys from some other planet, probably both disgusting monsters.
I wasn't sure. Was him saying someone from Alderaan supposed to be what's his name, Bail Organa?
So yeah, I thought so too. But I rewind a couple times. They don't say Bail Organa. They say Bail Antilles. Okay,
so Wedge's dad.
So I thought I was confused by that too, because in A New Hope, there's a part where or some part of the original trilogy, C-3PO says that he was owned by a Captain Antilles at some point, but that's a different Antilles from Wedge's family. So it sounds like Antilles is Smith within the galaxy, is just a common name.
I know it's not intentional, but I do actually like if that is the case, that there are just some common names. Because that almost never happens in movies.
No, yeah.
And it is actually kind of good world building if you think about, some people just have the same last name. It doesn't mean they're related.
Mm-hmm. And even if it's it's a fun enough reference that maybe Antilles, because Wedge, you don't really hear his last name too much in the original trilogy as well, so it's not a distracting name.
Yeah.
So at one point there, they're kind of waiting because, Amid, trying to get a new chancellor in place there, but it's going to take a lot of time. It's Amidala is very frustrated, and Jar Jar talks about how Gungans have a grand army, and I can use you frog monsters to take back my kingdom.
Oh, you have value.
Yeah.
Species I didn't know existed.
Yeah. So ultimately they decide all right, let's just go back and do our own shit on Naboo, and so Qui-Gon, but also the Jedi Council is really curious about the return of the Sith there, because they haven't seen the Sith in the thousands of years. So they ultimately decide you cannot train Anakin because Anakin is too young for the training there. They don't trust him, but there's all bullshit about bringing balance to the Force, which sure, whatever.
Which I know other people have brought up, I'm sure. He does kind of do.
Yeah.
Because if there's only two Sith, and there's an entire Jedi Order...
Mm-hmm. And the rule of two is such a dumb concept where there can only be two Sith at a time. And
just every part of the expanded Jedi canon I don't love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, honestly, the Jedi are one of those things I do not find as interesting in the Star Wars universe as other elements of this other cultures in Star Wars.
They're more interesting in the original when they are a thing that no longer exists. And a lot of people are you're making that up. Fuck you. That doesn't exist.
Yeah. And I do love in Last Jedi, especially when Luke is the Jedi's legacy is a legacy of failure. They were able to allow the Sith to rise up again. They are an organization that just does not work. I think them as a bureaucratic failure of a peacekeeper organization, that's pretty interesting. But I don't know. One thing that's Andor is an incredible show, and what's great about that is there's no Jedi at all. It's not a show about that.
Yeah, because it shows that you have a rich enough universe to not have to have your most powerful characters in it.
Exactly, yeah. And but yeah, so now our main crew is going back to Naboo yet again, and
which just kind of happens.
Yeah, they kind of rush over there, and
they don't have to go back through the trade blockade. Don't ask questions.
Yeah, don't ask any questions. But Jar Jar's there's a secret hiding place where all the Gungans go, which is next to some pretty cool statue heads, which is pretty interesting to look at. And yes, they run to all the Gungans there, and here's when, as we mentioned before, Padme kind of reveals herself to be the queen there, and everyone's like, "What the fuck? Like, holy shit!" At least all our heroes are like,
which should just piss off Boss Nass, because he's like, "You didn't trust me enough to not have that woman pretend to be you as your to not have your bodyguard pretend to be you.
Yeah.
Did you think I was going to murder you?"
Yeah. But he kind of likes the tenacity of it. Like, he's okay with it. Like,
At first he's like, "Fuck you guys." And then she's like, "Actually, I'm the real queen." And immediately he's like, "Ha ha ha, yeah, all right."
But he's also stoked that they get on there, like, "I'm asking you, I'm begging you." So, like, all these humans get on their knees and, like, are willing to suck Boss Nass's dick to, like, get him to help out. Like,
do you think at the end of this movie, like, when they're having the, like, big celebration, it's because they've signed over, like, the Gungans now get to live on land, and all of the people in Theed have to live under the water?
Yeah. And eventually there's going to be, a lot of, like, problems, and there'll be some calls for a two-state solution.
Yeah, they're just sort of pushing the Gungans back out.
Yeah. That's my idea for a Star Wars TV show. It's like Naboo, like, 300 years later. And, like, all the strife that happens in the region, like, all the humans went through a lot of shit there too. So the humans deserve, like, a right place, but they deserve a right to return to Naboo.
A brutal civil war breaks out when the Gungans discover human sewers.
Yeah. Yeah, they realize, like,
what?
You've been dumping your shit into our like, waters? Like, it turns out that Jar Jar, like, the reason he's weight is it's a birth defect from having too much, he lived right next to, like, a lead pipe or something.
Well, they do live next to the world's largest power plant.
Yeah.
Is that what Naboo is exporting? What is happening?
I don't know. Like, the Star Wars is so fascinating stuff, because, like, you have planets of water. We also get some, like, Tatooine, where, like, the Lars family can, like, make a living off of, like, exporting moisture.
And then Naboo is something.
Yeah, like, it's a very silly universe when you think about it. But that's part of the fun of Star Wars. Like, once you start, like, kind of peeling that back the layers, it's so goofy, but, like, it's a fun universe to kind of think about.
Yeah, it's more fun when it's more goofy. Mm-hmm. Naboo makes no sense still, but, it's fun.
So the idea of this battle is that the Gungans, they're fodder, because Boss Nass is not a real Gungan. So he sends all the, all the Gungans are willing to die to distract them.
If you look, he's not at that fight.
No. And he's like, "All right, Jar Jar, you're in charge of the whole army." Like, he does not give a fuck at all.
He makes Jar Jar a general, and he disappears until the celebration at the end.
Yeah. And then all the humans, they're off, getting back to the palace there to, what's the main plan there? They want to free the pilots so they can...
They want to free the pilots so that they can destroy the lead ship that runs all the battle droids, because that's out of one ship. Mm-hmm. And also they need to take back the throne room for reasons, because the Neimoidians are trying to force them to sign a peace treaty that lets them run their, like, planet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it might just be a symbolic thing that you have to do, but, like, they get back to Theed, and, like, they're, Padme's Padme. She's not trying to be Amidala anymore, so she's, like, Natalie Portman's, like, running with a gun, which is pretty awesome. So they get to the hangar, they free the pilots. Anakin's told to hide inside of a Naboo Starfighter. I love the Naboo Starfighter design, these yellow ships.
Yeah, with the, like, chrome back, because it ties into her starship. Mm-hmm. But also the, like... very obvious World War II, Mustang fighter design. It's very cool. Mm-hmm.
And, like, R2's in that starfighter too, and they're about to, like, keep going the next part of their mission there, and then a door opens up and Darth Maul shows up, and Duel of the Fates starts playing, and it's the most badass fucking song ever.
It rules. That door opening and him popping the two lightsabers is the scene of the movie.
Yeah. And he opens his eyes too as the music, like, swelling up too.
Yeah.
Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan Kenobi, like, we'll handle this. So, like, the Queen, all her posse, like Captain Snock, people go a different direction.
This is when George Lucas kills another Wilhelm in this scene.
Yeah.
Burning through the nation's supply of Wilhelms.
And so yeah, we had like 3 different action scenes. So you had like the queen and her people, like shooting droids and stuff, and they use like grapples to get to the second level to get to the throne room. Anakin is like on an autopilot in the Naboo starfighter, so he is like heading towards with the other pilots there. This the main droid ship, and Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi, they're fighting Darth Maul. Duel of the Fates is playing as we're cutting through all 3 different action sequences. It's fucking awesome.
It is. You have to have something so big to balance out having the pod race in the middle of your movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I think if you just did Anakin's thing, or just did the duel, it would be not, big enough in that sense of, like, a grand finale. Yeah. And it's nice to give Padme, like, her own thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, all the characters are something to do at this point, which is nice.
Yeah. Anakin, like, we can kind of sum up he does an accidental Death Star.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very similar thing to, like, the Death Star run where he just, like, goes and shoots the right spot there. He knows his instincts there. He has the great line, like, now this is pod racing, as he's, like, killing all these Nemodian, like, Fu Manchu people.
He's blowing up a ship of people.
And,
I'll try rolling. That's a good trick. No, I'll try spinning. That's a good trick.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
A good trick in a pod race?
Yeah. It's so silly. And Amidala reaches the throne room, but they're surrounded by all kinds of robots and droidicas. So, like, but of course, as Anakin destroys the droid thing, that destroys the main ship there, that makes all the droids kind of like, they've stopped working. We also Jar Jar Binks is also in all the Gungans.
Jar Jar gets raided.
They're in a big land battle there, which looks pretty good. But Jar Jar Binks is like, doing all kinds of physical comedy, and just like falling over a lot and accidentally destroying a lot of tanks and stuff.
Coming back to this, that part of the battle is a little bit disappointing just because of the location being just flat grass with like the 2. Like at the time, I was like, "This is the craziest, coolest thing ever," but now it feels very like quaint. We didn't have the resources to put anything to break up the visuals because like our computers would explode.
Yeah. But also the lightsaber fight between Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn and Darth Maul, like you're that power plant room you keep mentioning, and it's a different kind of lightsaber fight than we ever got in the original trilogy, because like it's funny because in the prequels the lightsaber fights, like the lightsabers are meant to hit lightsabers, and they're never going in for a kill ever. Yeah,
in this they're always just sort of tapping each other's lightsabers like for effect. And sort of doing big showy things, but I think it really works for sort of the theatricalness of Star Wars as a whole.
Yeah.
And like when you have in the original series Luke just like bashing Vader to the floor with his lightsaber, it's a really good charged moment of it does seem like he's trying to kill him.
Yeah.
Like, so you can get that contrast, because otherwise it's like, oh, the Jedi like fight in these big showy kind of like fun theatrical ways. They're not like trying to do a murder.
Yeah. And like I think the lightsaber fight with like Yoda and Attack of the Clones is really bad, but like I like the lightsaber fights in Revenge of the Sith a lot too. Like you can have ebbs and flows if you're going to do it this stylized. Exactly. Yeah. And so this lightsaber fight ends with like Qui-Gon Jinn and Darth Maul like end up in one room there. Obi-Wan's behind them, but he gets like blocked by these like red doors. These like red like laser doors.
Yeah, I know there's a name for the like power generator hallway. I forget what they're called, but yeah, he can't get through the laser wall.
Yeah, and ultimately Qui-Gon Jinn gets stabbed through the gut by a Darth Maul, and Obi-Wan's very upset that his master's been ran through. It's
also very good. You get like putting the 3 together gives you a very good pacing of Qui-Gon gets stabbed, dies, Obi-Wan yells no, and then we can cut to another action happening to let that sit even longer. I really like that editing.
Yeah. It's also, honestly, the editing for this movie is really fantastic too.
It's surprisingly tight, especially at the beginning, because by the time like we're on Naboo in like 7 minutes or 10 minutes, you know, like we're knocking it out as fast as we can to get through this story.
This movie is like, what's the minute count? This movie is 134 minutes, and so much happens.
It's crazy how much happens. There are chunks that I think are a little slow, especially sort of after the pod race and once we get to like the Senate, because you just got to get through that stuff.
But like, it's a lot of world building. That stuff, even the Senate stuff is like building up a lot of like stuff in the universe.
Yeah, like it's
Jedi
essential stuff you have to do.
The Jedi stuff is like, you know, like it's setting up a lot of things, like, you know, the Jedi's like bureaucratic indecisiveness, which is like setting up the rest of the trilogy effectively. Like,
yeah, and doing some of the sort of grievances that Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon have with the heads of the Order, like making that conflict. Like, it's all important stuff you need for the franchise.
Yeah. But so after Maul kills Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi slashes Darth Maul in half after he's like falling down a shaft there. He's holding on something, and like just a Jedi jump up and just like cuts him right at the torso.
Flips over and cuts him in half.
And Darth Maul, he you know, you can see him like his legs fall off, and like, you know, he's like flailing his arms, he's falling down this giant hole, which somehow he survives.
Apparently. Somehow like, Darth Maul returned.
Yeah, many times. But no, it's a great death for a great one-off villain. And, like, Peter Serafinowicz does a great voice, because like Darth Maul maybe has like 4 lines of dialogue, probably less than that in the whole movie.
I think the last time he talks is when he's on the planet, like on Coruscant with Palpatine, and is like, "Oh, I'll go get them," because he doesn't say anything in that entire duel.
Which is a great choice. It's not like he's taunting them or something like that. Or it's like the Sith will defeat you all in the end or something. Like, it's silent. It's great.
It's also really cool because they don't even know who this guy is. Mm-hmm. They have no idea who Darth Maul is. Yeah. He doesn't say anything to them, and he just kills one of them.
Yeah. And his double-sided lightsaber is so cool too, because when Qui-Gon Jinn does fight him in Tatooine, Darth Maul's only using the one side of it, so it's the whole like 2 at once there. It's a fantastic reveal.
Yeah, Lucas just really loved the reveals in this. That you've got that, and you've got like Amidala being 2 people, and like all these other things.
He loves the hype and aura moments.
Yeah, sometimes I forget you're Gen Z.
Yeah, oh yeah, I know all the lingo. Skibbity 6'7". I'm not Unk at all. Don't worry.
Oh my god. I'm Uncle Ben, and then I'm going to set myself on fire.
Bet. So Qui-Gon is dying there, but he says to Obi-Wan, like, hey, you gotta train Anakin, he'll bring balance to the Force, and he just dies horribly. But now all the droids are gone, Amidala puts all the guns towards the Trade Federation freaks there. So they've won there, they're not going to be signing the treaty. So yeah, the Gunrays are arrested. Yoda promotes Obi-Wan to the rank of Jedi Knight and says, like, all right, fine, you can raise Anakin as your apprentice there. You can get that little shitty boy can get a rat tail.
Cut to celebration parade.
Yeah. But also they burn up Qui-Gon Jinn's corpse there on the planet there. Like,
I wrote down they have the funeral, and that is when Obi-Wan tells him that he's going to be his apprentice.
Yeah.
At the funeral.
Maybe like wait for later on, like, maybe like, at the wake or something like that, as you like eat like little sandwiches and sign.
Did the funeral happen like an hour after? Like when did that meeting with Yoda happen, and when did the funeral happen? Why did you not tell Anakin this?
Yeah. But there's like, and then there's the point where Palpatine says to Anakin, like, we're going to watch your career with, like, great interest there, like setting up, like, hey, this is going to be the master-apprentice relationship that will go on the original trilogy. Mace Windu is the one line, like, about how the rule of 2, like, was that the master or the apprentice of, because always 2 Sith. It was Darth Maul, the master, was he the apprentice? You're going to be on the watch for new Siths popping up. And, so now we get the big final celebrations, like a parade and Theed there. Just a lot of Gungans are allowed into Theed, which is probably, going to piss off a lot of the racists there who, want, the Gungans to be in their own little ghettos or something back on the swamplands.
Obi-Wan does not look particularly happy to see them in Gungans again.
Yeah. I was like, what is the plural for it? I don't know my pronouns.
I thought we sent all of you to die from battle droids.
Yeah. Padme, all the outfits that Padme has in this movie as the Queen look great. Like, I think it's great costume design. She has like a very white one this time, and she gives Boss Nass this like orb. It looks like one of those things you get at Spencer Gifts.
Yeah, the electricity plasma orbs.
Yeah, and I think Boss Nass yells like peace or freedom or something like that. All the characters are are all happy and everything. Then we cut to the movie ends, and we cut to the Star Wars fanfare again, and that's the Phantom Menace.
The best fanfare.
It's so fucking. It gets me hyped every single time, no matter what movie it is. Like,
I will say also the coming into the parade and that like the that kicks in at the parade. I'm always like, hell yeah.
John Williams is doing a great job in all these movies, and the new scores he has for Phantom Menace, especially Duel of the Fates, like they're really like.
And the new score in this that you get when they're coming to the planet, they're coming to Naboo first when they're invading, is a really nice like original. It fits Star Wars really well, but it's also like its own thing. It's identifiable. It's great.
There's never been a Star Wars score that John Williams has done where like it's like, oh fuck, that's a bad one. Like the sequels have like not as many memorable new musical cues, but like you never like, oh, this is a bad addition to the canon. Like it feels like it all fits cohesively together.
Yeah, there's nothing that you ever notice for bad. The worst thing you can say for his music is that it didn't stick out to you as, oh man, this is amazing immediately.
Yeah,
because
of course, with all the expanded universe stuff, with like the further sequels, all the video games, they use this music even more. Like it's, it just changed the soundscape of Star Wars for the better, I'd say.
They probably got more use out of this soundtrack for a while than any of the others, because I feel like this coincided with the huge, like, LucasArts boom of video game releases and licensing.
Yeah, because like Revenge of the Sith doesn't have that many new cues that I remember, but like Attack of the Clones has the romance theme, which I think is actually a really good set of music. But this one introduces a lot of really cool things. But yeah, so that's Attack of the Clones. When it came out, like it got like pretty mixed reviews because it's like the Jar Jar is kind of iffy. It's kind of clumsy as it fits as a prequel. Some people had issue with the CGI effects and stuff, but as time has gone on, especially with how like omnipresent the Disney era Star Wars is, people kind of like want the more personal Star Wars made by an auteur rather than a corporate led Star Wars. There's also the prequel memes thing online, which like really kind of got people like looking back on it. I think prequel memes came out around getting really popular around the time Force Awakens came out. So like people were kind of like looking at like these movies kind of ironically, but I think it's hard to look at these movies kind of ironically because they're very sincere.
I was thinking about like, so there's like I've seen like people use the GIF of like Jar Jar like giving the thumbs up with his like tongue out and like different memes and stuff of this, and I feel like the new movies did not get really any memes or cultural lasting impact like this one did, because it's like 99 also is a very specific time of the internet, and it can this movie can sit and breathe without much competition for a bit in sort of the cultural zeitgeist. So it's like I don't care if they release 1,000 Star Wars things a year. Like I'm not like, oh, there's too much Star Wars now. Like it's fine, whatever. But I think you are killing your own brand by having so much all at once. Yeah.
And like I don't know, like who knows what will happen in like 20 years time if people come around to the sequel trilogy or like just the Disney era in general. But like it's been fascinating because like I remember when I saw this in the theaters as like an 8-year-old boy, I thought this movie was a blast. And then as a teenager, I became cynical and hated this movie. And then now as an adult, like I think this movie is a blast.
Yeah, I think like certainly there will be kids that saw the new movies at 10 years old, and that's the movie.
Yeah.
that they have. I see. I know that when I came into this as a kid, they'd just done the re-release to theaters of the original trilogy.
Yep.
And that was like a big deal. And like my parents took me because they saw Star Wars when they came out. And it was like a very like big multi-generational thing to sort of get kids into the next one. And I
Very
don't know
clever
if
thing for them to do.
yeah, like super smart. But I don't know if there's as much of that nowadays, because it's harder with streaming and everything to have sort of a big cultural moment where it's like, oh, everyone's going back to the theater to watch that older one to then, because people will be like, yeah, you can watch that at home on the TV.
Exactly. They conditioned us that Star Wars is available at home.
Yeah, it became less of a big event, a big must-see thing that everyone had to go to, which does harm it when there's so much of it all at once.
Yeah. Because, like, Star Wars, like, when it was, like, the prequels came out 3 years apart from one another, but then the sequel trilogy plus Solo and Rogue One came out with a year each of each other. So, like, Star Wars wasn't a special thing anymore that came out rarely.
I feel like also Star Wars is, like, you are at the time where the prequel trilogy, Lord of the Rings, the original, like, Harry Potter's, like, you're getting all of these big sort of temple franchises coming out and being announced as, hey, we're doing multiples, like, we're doing a couple of these.
Yeah.
And now it seems very much like we had that last Star Wars one, and any movie now, it's like, we'd like to make a couple of these, but who knows if we're going to get to. Maybe it's just getting released to Netflix.
Yeah. Like, honestly, if the Phantom Menace existed and somehow bombed, this movie did not bomb. It cost $113 million to make. It made $1 billion. Well, actually, plus some re-releases, it made $1 billion. So, like, they make $1 billion right away. But like, if Phantom Menace bombed and we never had episode 2 or 3, we would still be able to, like, you know, fill in the gaps ourselves what happened in the story to get to the original trilogy.
Yeah, even without these movies, we knew some of this from EU stuff, and like just George Lucas in interviews talked about it openly.
Yeah, and like, yeah, this is all like because they when the new movies came out, they like the sequel trilogy, they like turn the old EU into like the Legends, and now they have their own new EU, which I think is a smart thing to do because I don't have to deal with like fucking like Chewie getting destroyed by a moon by that Hellraiser species. Like,
I think it's always fine to just say all that stuff is there for you, and you can read it, and we want to do different things or tell new stories or whatever. Like,
yeah, like
I don't have a
that's how
problem with
comic books work, right? Like comic books are always like rebooting themselves. Like that's just
yeah, you have to. Superman's been around since the 30s. Like, you gotta, like, you gotta be able to retell stories in different ways for newer audiences.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and like, yeah, like they definitely took Phantom Menace and the roots they laid down. They expanded into so much. Like how many episodes of the Clone Wars? How many TV shows? How many? Like, this really changed what Star Wars could possibly be. And I think the prequel trilogy is probably more interesting than it is good, in my opinion. But I think these movies, I think Phantom Menace is a lot of fun. I like Revenge of the Sith a fair amount. Attack of the Clones has its moments, but it's pretty boring. But
yeah, I think Phantom Menace is definitely carried by, I think, some really, really, like, all-time great design work from the production department in terms of some of the new ships and stuff that you don't even see, like the droid fighters that can then walk. Like, you see that for, like, I think maybe a second in the background on that command ship. Like, a lot of stuff that they were putting in as maybe seeds for the next movie. Like, maybe we'll get to use that. Maybe that's just for a toy. But they put a lot of work into it.
But also, we've played like video games like Battlefront and stuff, and like got to see like what these things can look like when you're controlling them yourself. Like, it's really cool ideas they pop up there. And like, I think a great example of the sequel trilogy don't have that much of an impact because the latest Battlefront game that includes some sequel trilogy stuff in there, there's not much.
They mostly put in legacy stuff. Like, I think, like I said this earlier, it's kind of like the problem of doing the sequels but being too afraid to, like, ignore the originals or not do the fan service of that stuff. So like you release a game, but you gotta reference that. Or even the one that was really popular, Jedi Fallen Order, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Like that takes place not with the newest sequels. So you're still like, it's almost like they're like, well, we can't go that far into the future of like the Star Wars. We're not going to really support that franchise.
Yeah.
It's weird.
And I don't think I'm not sure if they're ever going to actually do the sequel era stuff, because like, you know, the next movie they're doing is going to be Sean Levy is going to direct it. Going to kill myself if I see that movie. It's Ryan Gosling's Jedi Star Wars like Starfighter or something like that, but Sean Levy making it, producer of Stranger Things, director of Night at the Museum, and Deadpool and Wolverine and Free Guy. Like they don't really have like a creative voice here, because like they're handing off to Dave Filoni a lot, and like it's going to be like Dave Filoni loves like looking at the Clone Wars stuff and like basically just like mashing his toys together. Like it's, you know, I'm not sure we're ever going to, and something like Andor is incredible, but I'm not sure we're going to be getting an Andor again, at least for a long time.
I think they're in a kind of a bind that something like Marvel didn't run into, at least not as quickly, because you had so many stories from authors to take from.
Yeah.
And Star Wars has seemed pretty reluctant to adapt Star Wars novels and EU stuff to movies, but I think that would make more sense for them. Like find a proven sort of liked book series or something like that and try to adapt it, spin it out of that, instead of whatever you're doing now where like you got a character that was popular on a show, so I guess he's getting a movie.
Like Ahsoka, that TV show there, which is like, it's a misnomer of a TV show because it's actually mostly a Rebels season 5. It's mostly with the Rebels cast, and they take a lot of stuff from the Timothy Zahn Heir of the Empire trilogy, which I've not read, but like, I've read like stuff about how like that's mostly just like taking stuff from that trilogy of books. They are taking things occasionally from the old EU, but like Star Wars is such an interesting setting that they just seem to do so little with. Like they, you know, think about like how Star Trek has expanded over the years. Like, and I think you look at Star Trek and be like, you know, Andor is Star Wars' Deep Space Nine. Like, and
yeah,
but you can,
yeah,
but
more of a spin-off than the other series.
Yeah, like also you're willing to tell like bold political stories. And I think that like, I don't know, like I think Star Wars, you could probably do something where you can kind of tell more philosophical stories if you're willing to, you know, it doesn't all have to be fun, violent space adventures. You can probably do something more like Andor, where it's like, here is the rise of fascism. And that's what the prequels are about too. The prequels are like, which is why like I think they're kind of, you know, interesting nowadays, because like, you know, especially Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, like, you know, you can look at that in the Bush administration, you know, a government lying their way into a war, which is like, you know, America's still doing. And
when are they not?
They've always been doing that, so like it's not like it's a brand new thing. That like George Lucas is basing it on something. Like even a lot of the original trilogies, Vietnam allegories.
Well, and the Clone Wars was happening at the same time as, like the Attack of the Clones is happening at the same time as the war in Iraq, and
exactly, yeah.
You have something to draw from, but no one really wants to touch current conflicts, because then you have a conflict of interest with your parent company and specific governments in the Middle East.
Which, like, George Lucas did not have that much of a problem when he owned Star Wars himself. Which, like,
but Disney's... he was also, like, you know, he wants to say something about Vietnam. Well, that's you're 20 years out, so you can. But the new Star Warses don't really have a thing to say. They're not making it to say something. They're making it to make a movie.
Exactly, yeah. Like it's like I can't expect too much from like, you know, entertainment that's like you can buy like Baby Grogu bed sheets. It's for kids, right? Ultimately, at the end of the day, like
yeah, I think you get the same problems that this movie has that are problems to me, where is this a kid movie? Is it a teen movie? Is it an adult movie? Because I think movies can be that broad, but it's extremely hard to walk that line.
Yeah. And you can see, like, with the reception of Jar Jar Binks, especially, because, like, that's supposed to be for kids, but, like, it kind of does not blend well together with, like, the fact that the opening title mentions, like, disputes of trade routes and stuff, and Senate and gridlock, and a lot of debates, like, political debates, like...
It's genuinely surprising to me that we never got this is the Star Wars Minions movie for children. Like, I thought we'd be at that point by now.
I think they have that on Disney Plus. It's like some animated thing, like Tales of the Jedi or something like that.
But I mean, like a movie, like in a theater, like released like the Minion movie,
like something slapstick with Baby Yoda or the Ewoks or something. Like
like a new this is our new Ewok adventure, because they kept trying that. They had like the direct to VHS ones back in like the 80s and 90s, with like Ewok Adventure and like the two of those and everything. Like they kept trying and it never really stuck. Yeah. So I'm surprised they haven't tried to go back to that well of we're making this one specifically for kids. Because it felt like for a little bit they were like, okay, we're making Rogue One and we want this one to be like our adult movie.
Yeah.
And we're taking this seriously and it's our adult movie. Yeah. And like then they, I don't know, backed off of that for whatever reason.
They kind of tried with the Skeleton Crew TV show, which has a cast of, like, the cast of characters is like 12 years old. It's like a cast of like 4 12-year-old characters, but like it still feels like, you know, it doesn't feel tonally different than the rest of Star Wars in a way that Andor feels tonally different.
To be fair, I forgot until you mentioned it that existed. So yeah. I think part of this also is it's become so atomized that that's not even on my radar, because it is for specifically people that are 12. So maybe it's doing great with them, hopefully.
Maybe, yeah.
There's a bunch of kids that are like 10 that are getting some sort of fun Star Wars thing just for them.
Yeah. And like, I hope that, like, you know, eventually, like, Star Wars will, like, create something I'm excited to watch again. Because just, like, it's been a bit of a bummer that I'm not excited to watch a new Star Wars movie in the theater. But, like, watching this movie again, I saw A New Hope at the Highland on Star Wars Day. And like, oh no, I still love Star Wars. It's just that this latest crop is not for me.
I will never get past the I am still a sucker for this setting from when I was a kid and was all about this setting.
Exactly, yeah.
It's just there hasn't been anything for a bit that I've actually cared to watch really from them. Mm-hmm. And there's so much of it that it feels like, yeah, I can watch it, you know, eventually or whatever. It's on like streaming. Like, exactly, none of it seems like, oh, I gotta go see that. That seems like a thing I'd really like.
Yeah, like, truly, like, Andor feels like the essential Star Wars has been made in the past, like, however many years. Like, that's the one I would recommend to absolutely anyone without any hesitation.
But the second season of that, aren't we, like, a year or two out from when that came out at this point?
About a year, yeah.
Yeah, and that, like, any of those streaming ones, it's not like, you know, oh, you gotta rush to your TV to watch it. I was kind of like, yeah, I'll watch it when it comes out.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, like I just like what the change in reception has been fascinating with the whole prequel trilogy too. Like I just love how like people are, like, coming back around to it, and like you know, and it's nice that the actors who have been unfairly criticized have been kind of like, you know, themselves the reception reclaimed. It just sucks that the fans sucked so much and put their scorn towards
corner. I think we definitely turned a corner on the larger Star Wars fandom when these came out. Really hated George Lucas, and then I think that has slowly turned into, oh, maybe he's just not a great director, and that's fine, and it's not the people in this' fault. He was just not a very good director.
He's maybe not a great director, but he's a great showrunner. Like, he was able to steer Star Wars in an interesting direction.
Yeah, like, just, you know, you just needed some time for some of the vitriol to come out of it.
Exactly, yeah. And, yeah, like, I'm really glad this movie exists. And I honestly, like, every time I come back to this movie, there's something else I like it about a little bit more.
It's always... There's always something to be like, what the fuck is happening? Or what is this? Or what are we doing here? There's always something interesting or some background thing you missed. Like, I had tons of stuff written down. Like, Watto, I never noticed had 2 purses. Like, some character designer spent 20 hours animating Watto's second purse. Awesome. I love that.
You know, like, Arthur the Aardvark? You remember how the early versions of that had like a big long snout and everything.
Yes.
And then he became like almost looks like a bear now. I want to know what the early concept designs for Watto look like.
I think I've seen the early concepts of Watto. I know they had pretty early on like models in the behind the scenes, which I get where we're doing like recommendation stuff kind of stuff right now. I would say anyone that hasn't bothered to watch that, I'm pretty sure it's just like on YouTube, the behind the scenes making of episode 1.
It's really good.
Fascinating. Yeah. Genuinely fascinating. It is not how you think a movie is made or should be made.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's on the DVD and Blu-ray as well, so it's an interesting special feature. And like, yeah, it's like, you know, it's very much like a fly on the wall type of thing too at points. Like, it's not like, you know, there's parts where like, okay, there's some questionable choices being made, but like
it is in some parts extremely unintentionally revealing, which you love to see in a behind the scenes thing.
Mm-hmm. Like, I remember being so bummed when the Force Awakens Blu-ray came out, and like that movie, they had to retool a lot of it because Harrison Ford broke his leg, and all the special features didn't mention it happening once. It was like nothing went wrong in this movie whatsoever. I'm like, no, but like the most interesting part of that movie is like they had to like retool the whole Rey and Finn relationship because they couldn't get Harrison Ford for a lot of time. Like,
some of the most interesting stuff from the originals is about, we like went to go do that thing and then half the crew was sick and we just scrapped that whole idea.
Yeah.
Or in this, when they're filming in the desert and basically all of Mos Eisley gets destroyed in a sandstorm. All the pod racers, and they're like, well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, Star Wars will always endlessly fascinate me, and I really hope that it gets me back in some way, but like, I will always have these movies in the way they are, and I'm excited that we will able to keep going back to the Phantom Menace and the prequels and the original ones, and the movies then the Disney era that I like too. Some of them I do like, but yeah, so any more final thoughts with Phantom Menace we've not talked about?
I don't know if I have anything we haven't talked about. Just like, echoing you of it. The worst thing a movie can be is boring, and I don't think you can truly say, except for like parts of episode 2, that any of the George Lucas ones are boring.
Yeah,
and you can always go back to them if they're interesting for any reason, whether it's, you know, the craziness outside of the movie or just some of the stuff in there that makes no sense and is a wild choice. Like, that's why I like them. And I like them playing around in this universe. I like this setting.
Exactly.
It still holds up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, here's a question. When did everyone stop calling it episode 1?
Yeah, you mentioned this to me the other day, and like I've been thinking about it ever since, because like no one calls The Last Jedi episode 8. No one calls Rise of Skywalker episode 9.
I looked it up. They don't say the episodes numbers or like episode or anything on any of the posters for the new movies. And if you look at the posters for these ones, it says Star Wars in small font, giant, episode 1, and then Phantom Menace in small font underneath it.
Yeah.
They're marketed as episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. Everyone, I felt like, used to call this movie episode 1. And then at some point, I feel like mostly now people call it Phantom Menace.
Yeah. And like I'm looking at the sequel trilogy right now, and you're right, they have no episode numbers on them at all.
Yeah, why did we stop calling this episode 1? It was called episode 1 before it came out. That's what we all knew it as.
Maybe that's why. Maybe everyone was like so anticipating this movie, like what's episode 1 going to look like, that like you can almost market episode 1 as its own thing more so than you can do the like whatever the subtitle for the movie ultimately ended up being. I
genuinely could not remember and had to look up what Force Awakens was called.
Yeah.
I was like, I know it's Star Wars 7, and I couldn't remember the subtitle of that one because it's very nondescript.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like, I don't think Phantom Menace is necessarily an amazing name, but episode 1, that sticks with you.
Do you ever see that interview where, because they filmed Attack of the Clones without the subtitle yet, but they announced what the subtitle was, and Ewan McGregor was in an interview. He was like, hey, Ewan, do you hear what the Star Wars Episode 2 is going to be called? I was like, no, I have no idea. It's going to be called Attack of the Clones. He just bursts out laughing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bad title.
Yeah.
But Phantom Menace, Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace, intriguing title, cool title.
Attack of the Clones is too on the nose of George's source material.
Yeah.
And that one gets into like a lot of our design is very retro futurist, atomic age inspired.
Honestly, I feel like Attack of the Clones should have an exclamation mark at the end of it.
Wasn't Attack of the Clones the one where like afterwards George was like, well, it's like supposed to kind of be like a B movie, so
yeah.
it's good that people think it's not great.
Yeah, which like you never want to intentionally do that.
No.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad the Galactic Taxman didn't get us.
Yeah. And thank you everyone for listening, because this is my 50th episode, so thank you so much for joining me on this ride.
Everybody clap wherever you are, if you're driving especially.
Yep, please clap. Jeb.
Jeb should be in the newest Star Wars.
Well, there's in the newest Star Wars, they have Zeb, who is a character from Star Wars Rebels.
Well, we're getting there.
Yeah. So yeah, Zeb, please clap. But yeah, you can follow me on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Letterboxd at bwishart. You can follow MoviePod on Twitter, Blue Sky, YouTube, and Instagram. So this is technically the season finale, but I already have an episode that's going to be released tomorrow to coincide with the release of the new James Bond game. So I have an episode recorded with my GG Tribune editor, Matt Fresh, where we talk about Tomorrow Never Dies. Any thoughts on that movie?
Is Tomorrow Never Dies the Japan one?
That's the one with Michelle Yeoh and Jonathan Pryce is the villain, where he plays like a newspaper guy.
Yes, Jonathan Pryce is perfect as that villain. I will say
it's such a good villain performance. Yeah, and Michelle Yeoh is a lot of fun. It's a good movie. I like it a lot. Michelle
Yeoh, I don't think I've ever seen not be good in a movie.
Don't watch those Wicked movies.
I would never. How dare you assume I would?
She is terrible in those movies.
Sorry. I mostly only watch her in various action films from Hong Kong, mostly co-starring Cynthia Rothrock. But
yeah, those are the Yes, Madam, great movie.
Yes, Madam is one of my favorite movies. Everybody, Can I plug? Everyone, go watch Yes, Madam.
Yeah. Anything else you want to plug? Get some other suggestions for movies. What are some other good Michelle Yeoh movies?
What is the one called? It's a triple header, and it's like an action one that's kind of like a period. I don't remember what it's called. It was on like Criterion for a bit.
Is it Golden Trio?
Is that it? It's the one that's sort of like her as Indiana Jones.
Oh, I'm just gonna look it up right now. It's gonna bother me.
Yeah, I can't.
Heroic Trio.
Heroic Trio. Yes.
Yeah.
That movie rules.
Yeah, she's also great in Police Story 3 Super Cop.
Yeah.
She's just Michelle Yeoh rules. Yeah, and it's cool to watch her she outstages James Bond in the action scenes. Like Pierce Brosnan cannot do what Michelle Yeoh does.
It's insane to ask him. She was doing like stunt work and fighting in movies for a long time by the time she made that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of crazy to be like, yeah, you two can do like fight scenes. It's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, I recorded that episode last night. It's a really fun one, so definitely tune in for that. Yeah, thank you all so much for listening, and until next time, take care.